All right, kitties. I think I have a hair on my screen. Hello, meow meow. Apparently this is a Scott Adams thing, where you just coffee morning. So got some delicious Java there. I got up very late because I went to sleep late because I just stayed up watching TV. What up, Justin? Because I just got up where I was watching TV by myself. I watched this series. I finished it last night called His and Hers on Netflix. I don't know. It was okay. Did not blow me away. It was entertaining, but it's the kind of thing where it's not how I usually measure film and TV shows. So it's like if they stick with me. Like if they've planted seeds into my mind and ideas and feelings into my heart, and you can't get over them, and you're thinking about them the next day. I guess I'm thinking about them the next day because I'm talking about it, but not like in a there's yeah. I feel like there was an unexpected twist at it. It's like a thriller murder mystery show. But the twist just felt uncompelling to me. Let's say it that way. I felt like they wanted it to be really just punchy, and it was not. So yeah, the reason I'm doing this today is because I'm all alone. No, I thought about this. RJ, I did think about this. So yeah, well, let's get to the topic. Because my topic is, dude, it is very cold in Minnesota. I'm just wearing a tank top because I'm inside. I also have a hat in case I get cold. It's also because I'm drinking coffee, and that sometimes it makes me sweat. I don't know. And so I'm just, not because I'm hot. It's like a weird chemical thing. I also have a blanket on. See, this is just, I'm more doing, the tank top for practical reasons, and it's for my friend Jason, who may show up, Jason Almondtree, and my boys, and Lucas Voss, the only tanks guys, because we joked about having like a TLC Gym Bros section where we just you can only wear tank tops. So that's what that's about. But the effect thing. So the title of the stream is does self-identifying with particular ideas, religiously or politically, affect behavior? Now, yeah, affecting behavior means influencing behavior. Yes. I do listen. I'm a grammar snob nerd, to a degree. I mean, there's obviously people that are more so than me, but that distinction is one that I love, and it's one that I notice a lot when it's used either properly or improperly. But it was a very conscious choice to use it this way because does it influence behavior? That's what I'm talking about. I don't think that self-identifying with ideas. I mean, I don't think it can affect behavior at all. Well, I mean, not at all. Some. I mean, this is a propositional. This is the the Vervaeke 4 Ps: propositional, procedural, perspectival, participatory, right? And I summarize the unity of all those when those are working all together as the personal, and the propositional. I mean, the propositional would be what you do with self-identifying with ideas, and so that's going to affect behavior somewhat, but I don't think it can completely effect behavior because otherwise propositional tyranny would be correct. Affecting is an aesthetic term. The sentence doesn't make sense, in my opinion. Well, I don't know that I understand what you're saying, but regardless, that's another one. People will sometimes say irregardless, and that's not a word. Like irregardless isn't a word. Regardless means without regard, because it's regardless, without regard. So if you say not without regard, then it means it actually irregardless actually means the opposite of what people are trying to say when they say irregardless. But that was a hard one for me to break. Anyhow. Also per se is another persnickety word that or thing that people say that also annoys me. The Discord part of the channel. Listen, I was in the Discord the other day. But sorry, I'll finish the let me finish the one thing. I got distracted by your comment. Because I'm really here to play today. I don't know how long I'll do it, probably for 2 hours, but I'll maybe try to open it up even earlier so people can come on and chat. This will probably be it'll probably be a pretty loose stream. I don't really care where it goes. It can just be silly, silly, silly. That's hilarious. You knew a girl named Perstickety. Not single. Nope. But what was I talking about? Oh, per se. Yeah. So per se is a phrase which comes from Latin, which means like in and of itself. Like that's the technical translation, word for word thing, and it's actually a technical term. So it's not like it's some idiomatic phrase that has a lot of nuance and metaphor and stuff. It's a technical thing that means in and of itself. It's almost like a legal kind of term. Why in Latin, a lot of jurors and jurisprudence, and they use Latin because it's very technical, which is also probably related to differences in Latin and Greek thought a little bit. Greek is philosophical. Latin is a lot more technical. But per se, when you so it's always hard for me to think of examples with per se to how to use it correctly. But when it's used correctly, it's just chef's kiss. It's really great. Most people just use it interchangeably with exactly. And that's not, that's not what it means. Per se does not mean exactly. All right. So I will try to be brief with my thing. A lot of this is related, and I should, I'm going to actually just text Sam because I put that in the comments. Also, Ethan, look at Ethan if you're here. I don't think you're here, but Ethan, you're the first person in my text messages. Ethan has reemerged in the corner. I'm going to just text Sam to say if he's available, which who knows if he's available. I was not telling him about this. If you're available, you can hop on my live stream to talk about if ideas really affect our behavior or not, because I'm going to talk about our ongoing Trinity discussion, period. See how good voice message did. Oh, it was still recording at the end. So I put in the description my whatever it was, my conversation with Sam, the last live stream I did, about our ongoing discussion about the Trinity. And this is a conversation like I have this with Rod. I don't know, Rod, if you're here. Just said effect or effect. I say it the same way. What are you talking about? Or I said it wrong somehow? Maybe true. But so, like, does it? This is really the question. What does it really mean outside of like an information economy to say that I believe some X? I believe, we'll just use the example because it came up. Like I affirm the Trinity. I agree with the Trinity, or I don't. So we have me over here saying I affirm the Trinity, and Sam over here saying I don't. I've said this to Sam privately and Rod and different things, or like Rod, who doesn't self-identify as being a Christian. Okay, that's another big one. What does it mean to be a Christian? We've talked about this a long time, dude. I don't know. I don't have an Instagram account. I don't know what we're talking about. This is the only social media stuff that I do. I guess I post some things on X, but I don't really like being on X. Um, I'm gonna ignore the effect effect stuff. I am interested in it, but maybe if this is RJ, you could come on. Chris, man, good to see you, buddy. You can come on and tell us about that. Correct me. Correct me. I'd love to learn if I don't understand that correctly. That would be great. Um, so in me saying, th- in me saying I believe the Trinity, I think that has certain self-identity has certain effects, because of the way that we organize our culturally and socially based on identity to ideas, you know? Um, and it's hard to know how much that self-identity is coming from is just given to you versus how much you can just take it on. Because then if you, um, to some degree, essentially does this is the question. I'll just try to really simplify it. Does saying that I believe the Trinity and going to Trinitarian churches, does that make me a better person? Or this is a little, it's a side conversation that's come up too. Does saying I believe X, anything, any topic, any idea, I believe this political idea versus this political idea. Maybe in Minnesota, immigration stuff right now, because that's where I live. Whatever you're, I think Hardy. I live in Minnesota. So does saying I'm pro ICE, I'm anti ICE. How much does that affect um your behavior? Because I really think a lot of that, to a huge degree, I mean, maybe this is the way that I can say it. To a huge degree, I think when we do that stuff, we're really signaling um uh moralistic group identity. Good, good. I'm glad you're here, Paul Allen. I so maybe that's a good part of this question. And I no longer subscribe to PVK's member thing. So sorry, Rod and Paul Allen. I have not seen your full UBI thing. I think I saw both the little clips that he sent, except maybe the second one. I was busy yesterday because I was driving my kids to camp, and it was so I was being present with them. I'm not gonna listen to a podcast when I was in a car, because that's the thing. I was talking to my daughter who went on a ICE protest march. That's all very interesting stuff. Me and her have had a lot of conversations about that. Um, and it's interesting, like that stuff. Like what is really going on? I don't know. I feel like it's really heightened in the zeitgeist, divisive ideas, of which the Trinity isn't really one now. I mean, that's kind of the debate, I think, with Sam and I and stuff, is at the end of the day, it obviously was thousands of years ago and hundreds of years ago at these councils where they were deciding the orthodoxy of the Trinity. It was obvious, that was the ice of the day. That was the ice issue of the day, and the immigration of the issue of the day, and maybe even worse, because it incited violence, right? If you're on Team Trinity or you're not on Team Trinity, we'll kill you, because because it's moral signaling, right? It's what group? It's what group are you in? Are you in the good group or the bad group? But then my question is really, in a group of people, how much do the ideas themselves how much do the ideas per se affect and effect behavior? Do they at all? Because this is really the question. I don't know that Sam's here, but I think Sam is one of my best friends in the TLC. See, I don't know where you got this. I don't know where you got that idea. I didn't say that. I think the issue is complicated. We can even talk about that if people come on stream. As usual, Maddie Diaz lyric, first song I ever heard of hers, Nervous. I have so many perspectives. I'm losing perspectives. I make myself nervous. So, Sam is one of my best friends in the corner. I love that dude. I think he's a good guy. It's really hard to emphasize almost, and this is will probably be upsetting to people, just how little I care that he doesn't identify as being a Trinitarian. I don't really care that much. And that's probably because I don't put a lot of stock in self-identity to ideas being major things that affect behavior. I don't really that much. I don't know the relationship between self-identifying two ideas and affecting behavior. I think it's really hard to. Where is that chart? We have it here. Oh, it's a fun one. Where did I find this the other day? Maybe I printed it off because it's fun. It's on a. I'm gonna actually. I'll show it to you here. But these are all these different like timetables or like evolution trees of the church, essentially. Depending on your bread is in the house. Come on, with the reductio ad absurdum of your views. Cool. But it's called, let me look it up because I'll show you on here. Theories. Marcher might like this. Of the timeline of church history. Some dude made it on Reddit, I think. Useful charts. Yeah, that's it. Okay. I'm gonna look it up. Here. Share screen. This will be fun. Let's look at this. Okay. Are we rocking? Let's zoom. Wow, that's too much. Can we do just a little zoom? A little more? Too much zoom? There we go. So is it working? Are we good? Yes. Matt, this is a good point. I mean, I do want it to be open, but Matt is, Matt, you can come on. Matt is also a very good friend of mine. Matt can come on and help moderate. You know, he is a moderator. Look at him; he's got that ranch. Matt with his ranch. But I find this chart fascinating. So this is the Catholic theory. Marcher might like this one. One true church, founded by Jesus Christ. Schisms and separations split the body of Christ. All baptized outside the church are separated brethren. So here, like, boom, Jesus, Catholicism. And then we have Roman and Eastern Catholicism because, right? Eastern Catholics were in like Eastern Poland or whatever, were brought back in that's where you get Eastern Rite Catholicism. Where Catholics accepted Orthodox back into so that's why you have some married priests in Catholicism, but they're Eastern Rite priests because they essentially do everything the Eastern Rite does, but the Catholic Church accepted them back. So then there you go. There's so many that you could just have infinite examples of this. So like, do those ideas matter? Like they don't say the Filioque, Eastern Rite Catholics. They have married priests. So do those ideas matter? But they're Catholic. And those were big reasons, and the Filioque was a big reason for the schism. But then we accept them back. So like, how much does that idea matter and affect behavior? Well, this is the question. This is the question, Marcher. I don't really care if my friend believes the Trinity. What does it mean to believe? This whole thing, the whole TLC started from the Jordan Peterson phenomenon, and then PVK, and then the TLC, which is where we talk about ideas, but it's also where we make friends, Neil Daedalus is a big, strong point. And so, like, What does it mean to believe? This is Jordan Peterson. Do you believe in the resurrection? Do you believe in Jesus Christ? What does it mean by believe? I don't think we're saying the same thing when we say believe. When I talk about believe something, I mean to embody it, to incarnate it, to be it. Rilke, the point is to believe everything. So that's maybe the question is, what does it mean to embody the truth of the reality of the Trinity versus the reality of Sam's Unitarianism and his idea of Christ and how that all fits? Does the differences in our metaphysic, which I don't know that I can even articulate, affect our behavior? Affect or effect? Affect or effect? I don't know. And so this is these are just fun charts. This is the kind of stuff as a kid, it's like when you go to church, and I still see kids do that in church. Sometimes they have the Bibles in the pews, but then in the back of the Bible, you have all these different, you have like charts and genealogies, and I don't know if there's flow chart stuff like this. Like sometimes there is, or there might be, there's lots of maps. I remember just spending hours like dreaming and imagining and thinking about like, where's the Garden of Eden? And there's the Tigris and the Euphrates and what's the other one? There's like the three rivers that flowed, like that somehow there was a common, what's the like upstream? What's my I'm forgetting my river terminology. They were tributaries of like a common river, and that flowed through the Garden of Eden, right? And I was just like, where is it? And I try to imagine. It's fun stuff. So the Orthodox Church. So here we go. Here's the theory of the Orthodox Church, right? The Orthodox Church, it's the church. And then the Oriental Orthodox went off, which, right? Because that's the Chalcedonian difference. Is God like meophysitist or diophysitist? Is it like two natures? What do we say in the Chalcedonian Creed? Two natures, undivided. What's the term? See, like this is when you're out of the flow that I can't. Chalcedonian Creed. Let's look it up. Let's pull this down for now. Let's look up the Chalcedonian Creed. Listen, this is the thing. This is an annoyance of me with like the new AI thing. And I guess it's just like a preference, but you type in like Chalcedonian Creed and it just like gives you a summary of all of it. How about you just give me the text? How about that? That's okay. I don't know, some OCA Creed. Common prayers, the creed, the symbol of faith, the Orthodox Church in America. I go here because this is my church, right? Is it popping up? Popping off? So the term, here it is. I believe in one God, the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth. This is the creed where Sam doesn't agree, right? Because he can say the Apostles' Creed, he can't say this creed. I think Sam can say this line: I believe in one God, the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, of all things visible and invisible. And in one Lord Jesus Christ, SpaghettiOs, the Son of God. That's a problem for Sam. So like I say this, Sam doesn't say this. Because I say this, am I a better person? Or is Sam a better person? This is the whole belief as embodiment. For me to say this, how much does that affect my belief that when I say these words and I self-identify with them in my mind, does that effect behavior that is superior to Sam's? So the only begotten of the Father before all ages. So I think this means I see, and this is the thing even about the creed is like, what do all these things mean? I don't know. I mean, there's probably been tons of language spilled and ink spilled about what all these things mean. So it's like, we have the Bible, then we have the creed. Then what does that mean? Then what does that mean? Then what does that mean? It's an infinite regressive meaning. This is the problem with like, you can always say, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? It's just like, what is matter? This is why I love that video. I'm going to come back to this. Listen, we're taking some We're taking some asides. I'm going to play this video because I love this video. I don't think YouTube will. Uh-oh. Claire, you're streaming. You can't stream and watch my stream. I'll finish up the creed thing and then we'll come back. But the infinite regressive meaning is what we're going on. So light of light, true light of true light, light of light, true God of true God, begotten not made, of one essence with the Father. Again, this is some essence stuff. By whom all things were made. Who first men and for our salvation came out from Mary. So like the main section, this is the true God of true God, begotten, not made. So that's Arius, right? We're not Arian. He wasn't made, wasn't created. But like the human nature was created. This gets into the nature stuff. Of one essence. So like he is of one essence with the Father. But there's also distinctions between them. So that you know, that's the creed. But now let's do oh, this is what I was going to look up. I think it's this one. Indy Wilson. Is it? I gotta find. Nope, it's not that one. Stop it. Uh-oh. For a senior win. We don't need it. All right, I'm gonna share this other tab. Sorry. Let's stop share screen. Notes from a tilt-a-whirl. I love this video because this is the same thing with meaning. He's in this video somewhat. He's deconstructing philosophical materialism. But I love this video. I'm just gonna play it. Will I get in trouble? I didn't put it in the notes. I will. In YouTube, I will add this to the description when I'm done streaming. Here we go.
If you really want to understand what people think the world is, ask them what they think the world is made of. What is it actually made of? Is it made out of goop? Is it made out of chaos? Is it made out of hydrogen? What is it made from? If you look at the truck, it's like, okay, so this is steel. What's it made? What's the steel made from? What's it made out of? And you say, well, we dug it out of the earth and we melted it down and we created steel from iron.
Okay, listen, he's deconstructing materialism. What is steel? What is iron? Well, we dug it out of the earth, it's iron. But like you can do, this is the meaning problem and the information problem. What does any amount of information mean? Give me infinite information. This is like the AI problem. It won't tell you what it means. It's not a quantity thing. Doesn't matter how much information you have. Doesn't matter how technically precise it is. It will never get you to meaning. We're going to keep watching this because it's good. I love this video. This book, one of my favorite books of all time. This is actually Douglas Wilson's son, by the way. There you go. His book, Notes from a Tilt-a-Whirl, which is what this is about. There's like a little docu-series thing about it. But then he had another book, Death by Living, which is another book, which is fantastic. He's like a reformed Peter Rollins or something. It's great. Here we go.
And so on. Go beyond the molecular level. Go to the atomic level. What are the atoms made of? Electrons, protons, nuclei. One per atom, please. What's the nucleus made of? What's the electron made of? And they'll tell you, well, there's up quarks and there's down quarks. There's leptons and there's elementary particles. What are those? What are they made of? Have you ever seen one? And the answer is no, they haven't seen one. No evolutionist, no Darwinist, no total secular atheist can answer this question. What?
I mean, we have large Hadron Colliders. But have you ever seen them really? Or is it just an image of them? Or is it an idea of it? Is it a projection of it? Like, what does it mean to believe in iron and electrons? I mean, like, you know, looks like a Trinity. All right, we're going to keep going.
What's it made of? The answer in the end is nothing. We're not Buddhists that, think that there's no real reality. It's all illusion. The miracle, the magic of it is that it's real. That hurt. I can hurt myself on this stuff. This is tangible stuff, spoken, and now it's here. A lot of Christians wonder why God isn't present anymore. Where is he? Where is he gone? And the answer is he's right here. He's talking, because if he wasn't, this truck, this sturdy old truck, wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. With the power of his, well, dare I say it, magic, is here. and it's all spoken. And you want to know if he's still around. You want to know if he's still talking. He's not speaking in English, which is what we want him to do. Please,
Oh,
God, tell me what to do for lunch today. He won't. He'll tell you something like 2 hot dogs and a Coke for $1.99.
God never
Or
tells me
nothing
that.
over there. You get all this talking,
Don't eat
constant
those.
talking. You've got a squirrel in the road getting run over. You're saying, what do I do on my test? Am I going to pass this test? And he says, squirrel and really quiet car. The end. You know, another little narrative that goes on around you. And we ignore it all. We just walk through with our heads down, pretending like it's not really here, wondering, where's God? It's like, I don't know. Maybe he's, spinning a sphere through space at Mach 86, caring about you while you're actually going about your business.
I'm just gonna keep. I love this whole video. If I ever get to meet, try to remember what his actual name is. It's not Indy. It's like one of those author abbreviations thing. It might be Nate. It's Nathan, actually. Nathan Wilson. I like this is. I don't know where I'd put it in my Mount Rushmore of works of art and things that have really affected me, but like this book was big. Like you talk about things that you've thought about and kept with you and retained for a long time. This book is a huge one, and these little videos are great clips about it. Yeah, but he's very much on the opposite end of Rob. Here's the thing: gives you Rob Bell vibes. He and Rob Bell would have very different theological opinions about quite a few things. So then, like, what's the difference, right? Let's keep going.
Once you actually understand that the world is spoken, once you understand that this is a word, that I am a word, that you are a word, that this entire world is a swirl of story, you have to then ask yourself what kind of character you are. Which character are you? Who are you? Are you the guy?
Here you go. This is the question, right? Does it matter? Does it even matter? What's the matter with matter? Ian McGilchrist. Meow meow. I hope you can come play, boys, when I open this up. Does it matter that you identify? Like, this is the thing. You could use this as a cell phone. Does it matter if you know anything about it to be able to use it? And does any of your knowledge of what it contains and how use it affect the ethics of how you use it? Does it matter if you know that a truck is made of iron to use it ethically? Well, I mean, somewhat. Does the word and the idea iron matter? Or do you have to just know that it is hard and that it is potentially a valuable tool and it could be dangerous and it could hurt people or it could help people? Like to what degree does what knowledge really matter about stuff? And then he said, like, we are all words. That's something that I agree. I self-identify with that language, that we are all words stemming from logos being created back to the creed. But like, does that matter? Or does it just matter that we're good characters? What does good mean? Does good mean how? Because this is a lot of disagreements. I was saying this to my daughter. We're going to go back and finish the video about, like, pick any pet political topic. What people really want is the good, the true, and the beautiful. The problem with that is in their transcendent things. We were talking about this the other day in the Discord, I think. Like in the just transcendent form, you don't know what any of that stuff means. Beautiful. What does it mean to be beautiful? You can't even know what that is apart from particularity, apart from instantiation, apart from Father Stephen Freeman said this quote, and I love it. My boy Yosef was agreeing with me the other day in the Discord, who's an Orthodox Jew. And like, you don't understand transcendence without particularity, universality without immanence, beauty. What does beauty mean? And you can point to something. You could say a waterfall is beautiful. You could say my wife is beautiful. You could say flowers are beautiful. Mine are getting a little old and I probably need to take them out. A flower is beautiful. A sunset is beautiful. But just some generic beautiful, you don't even know what the hell that means. What does it mean? What does it mean to be a good character? And people will divide over their their narrowed understandings of pathways to the good. But and this is why deception is such a problem, because like we all agree we want the good, unless you're a psychopath. The problem is how to get there, right? What does it really mean to disagree about something outside of like real self-identity? Do Sam and I really disagree about on the Trinity outside of a superficial level? Like Trinity, yes, Trinity, no. What is that? Does it matter for me? And you could say yes in the I would affirm yes because I'm rooted in the context of the Orthodox Church. My kids going there, me being baptized there. I'm committed to that body, institution. People would say, I say body. And so, like, what does that really mean? I was saying this the other day too. I'm going to say this, then we'll finish the video, I think, and then I'll just open it up. I don't really know what it means. Again, because of the infinite regress of meaning to say that I believe the Trinity. When I say God the Father is a person, I don't really know what that means. And yes, can you get really technical language like homoousios? What does that mean? It's an infinite regress of meaning. The goal is to be a good character. All right, here we go. The goal is actual embodied holiness. Christ in me. Do I really care if you call it Christ in me? I don't forefront that. Not so much. Okay.
Guy who's there just to make the actual hero look good. Which character? A
Okay.
swirl of story. You have to then ask yourself what kind of character you are. Which character are you? Who are you? Are you the guy who's there just to make the actual hero look good? Are you the guy who's there just to die as a morality tale, as a lesson, cautionary tale for other people? And you might not be one of the real villains. You might not be a lecherous youth pastor or an unfaithful husband. You might not be egregiously bad, but you might be.
Ooh, that's like the last stream we were talking about, a lecherous youth pastor or whatever. So this is like the Philip Yancey thing that we were talking about, right? Who was found out with the 8-year affair. What do you really believe, Philip Yancey? Well, if you would have asked him during all those 8 years or now or before, do you think it's all right to cheat on your wife with another woman? They'd have said no. He would have radically affirmed no. Maybe could have taught a Bible. Maybe could have preached an exegetical sermon on no. And he was having an affair. What does it mean to believe things? It means to embody it. He would maybe have vociferously debated someone on the ethics of adultery in the midst of an affair. So like what? So like at the end of the day, what does it matter? The parable, the parable of the two sons in the vineyard. You know, the father of a vineyard asked two sons to go out and help in the vineyard. The one says no. The one says they will. The one says no. The one that says they will doesn't go. And the one who says they won't ends up going. And Jesus says, which of these did right? One who did it, not what they said.
Well, you are something. You are the backstabbing friend. You are the irritable dad. You are the horrible boyfriend. You are the gossip of a girlfriend. You are a complainer. You are a whiner. You are someone. And you are someone that you would probably not actually like.
Ooh, as a character, you're a whiner. You're a virtuous person. You're charitable. These are all adverbial. These are adverbs. These are ways that you are in the world, not just, this is Vervaeke, adjectival versus adverbial. How are you actually in the world? I'm a Trinitarian. That's adjectival. I'm a Unitarian. That's adjectival. My family and the people around me would say that I am a good man, that I am humble, that I am gracious, that I am forgiving, or I'm a self-righteous asshole. Both of those things can happen in both those categories, right? So then what are those categories doing? These are my questions.
If you saw them on screen, you probably wouldn't actually like that character if you read that character as described by a master novelist in a book. Think about the story. The story exists. Trials come, minor trials and macro trials. Kids spill milk. Do you snap at them? Do you lose it? Your pipes freeze. Your girlfriend leaves you. Who are you in that story? We always assume we are sympathetic. We assume that we have our own soundtracks, that we exist in some sort of indie hipster film that's about us and our idiosyncrasies and makes us sort of quirky and lovable. That's not what's going on. You might not be the star. We should be laughing because God's laughing. We should be sacrificing ourselves because God sacrifices his own son. We should be like him. We should be those characters. You know your thoughts, you know your temptations. You hide them from everybody else, but they're real, and those are part of your character. Deal with those. Become a more interesting character. Become a character that's not bored and therefore not boring in this world.
Such a great video. Can't recommend it enough. I just love that book. I should go find it on my shelf. Tons of notes. It's like an old worn Bible. It's like Rhett McLaughlin's Bible when he's talking to Cosmic Skeptic, and he's like, "Look, I brought this Bible, and I have it with notes, and I want to pull these verses out, and I want to teach you about the Bible to save Christians from themselves." Also a fun little video. A lot of great stuff in there. All right, I'm gonna open it up. Matt, see if you're still out there. Feel free to come in and moderate and keep people on track. Should I? Jason, you cutie. Let's stay on topic. We can go off of it a little bit. Because it's a Saturday stream and I'm all alone and I have nothing to do today but just whatever I want. It's fantastic. The house is very clean. It's not gonna get dirty because it's just me. I don't make things dirty. I pick up after myself. I follow the national parks thing where you just leave no trace, or I leave it better than when I got there. This is what we try to tell our kids, This what Indy Wilson was talking about is how I try to raise my kids too. I'm just be a good person. Even here we go. I'll use the example. of the ICE protest thing. I told my daughter I wouldn't go. I don't believe in protesting. I don't really like it for any topic. When is the time to protest? For everything, there's a season, right? I guess there's certain times to protest. I think the issue is pretty complicated. I would not do it, but she wanted to do it for whatever reason. A lot of that social and friends were going. And I'm okay with my kids having opinions that are different than me, but I want them to be good people. You can disagree with me and self-identify differently than me to what degree can you do that? If my kids, I've said this to people before, if my kids grew up and decided to not be Orthodox, I would be okay with that. It's also hard though, a little bit, because I want them to be with me in church when they visit. I want to hold grandkids in church. I want that to be part of our cultural heritage. But how much of that is about conscious self-identity to the doctrine? And also part of it is a lot of that is most of us don't know what that means. I could go back to the John 1:18 thing. I gotta pin this of that translation and what that really means and how much that affects people, because I went to my wife's Lutheran church of this thing, and I'm just what is it? Lutheran church. Stop it. Pinning message. Okay. And you can't even begin to have a conversation because, again, it's that infinite regressive meaning with people. I couldn't even begin to have a conversation about why that was a bad translation. But yet that verse is a verse that would affect whether or not you get the doctrine of the Trinity. So then, how much does that self-identity really affect you? Chad, welcome, buddy. I also know I haven't done any homework. I know you were on... Were you on Chris's stream this morning, bud?
Yeah, I was on Chris's stream. I ran a little stream myself, but it was kind of just a shake out my sleepiness stream. Just kind of wanted to, because I woke up at 5:30 this morning on a Saturday. It's what is going on? And so then I went over by Chris, and then after listening for 5 minutes, I was I need to do my own thing. And then I went over to his stream because nobody was hanging out with me because I'm a loser. And so then I went over there, and it was a really great discussion. I think we were discussing Neil's video, which is probably all of these things are all connected, obviously. The Mosaic vision of UTWAB. And
the Mosaic vision of the cosmological burrito.
That is correct. Both the same thing, by the way.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty dang close, I think, if you understand them properly.
It's
The
yeah, it's a
mosaic
matter
vision
of
is probably a little bit more abstract, but like an actual mosaic isn't. Like,
yeah.
it's
So it's a matter of seeing the light in a particular way in the room. Like when you see the dust, whatever.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
So,
kick us off. Kick me
I
off.
mean, I don't I know you're not necessarily a huge I think this is related to a lot of your passion projects because I think sometimes you can get very frustrated in talking about ideas because I think to you, you're asking kind of the same question of like, what does this matter? Like, actually, in effect, on the ground, do these things matter and affect who we are in the world? I think that can be your frustration because I think sometimes you see talking about ideas as a waste of time that's not really affecting how we are in the world. Topic.
Um, well, sometimes uh, well, I talk about ideas too, but where I get frustrated is when it seems like the ideas become the the main course, and I think okay, like if we're going to be, let's say, sitting around starving talking about recipes when we have a kitchen right there with all the ingredients,
Yeah.
like if we're not willing to actually live well or something but talk about how well we could live or something like that, that becomes frustrating. So like I don't even think I'm even think about things much differently than you do. I mean, I know you and I have a lot of
Yeah.
discussion about this. Like we have a lot of
Yeah.
the same, we love a lot of the same things. I think my music taste is vastly better than yours, but it's a little more dangerous than yours, I think.
Ooh, mine's safe, huh?
I think so. I think yeah. Yeah, so like any kind of like Chris Tomlinson or something like that, I want to bash my head through the wall because it's
Oh, and
just
I just want it just pumped directly into my heart and soul.
it's horrible.
Just
But no, I think like so the universalism question to me, I think it's to me it's like yeah, I mean I think I would say I'm a hopeful universalist. I
right.
just don't see the point in talking about it because
Yeah, but does like a hopeful universalist and or an infernalist or an annihilationist, do they are they different in the world?
I agree. I think talking about the afterlife as like sitting around starving when there's a kitchen right there is the same thing. So I don't care what aspect of the afterlife, unless I'm willing to talk about the meal I'm willing to leave behind for my family. So
Yeah.
that's different. Now, if I'm willing, like we could talk about the meals I want to leave behind for my family, and because I will actually leave behind a meal for my family, and um, since we're doing this, might as well.
I don't know. I can't. I'm apparently this is the ADHD and stuff where I'm just like I'm constantly fidgety in my hand. Like I'm a very handsy person,
Mhm.
you know.
So yeah, the thing is I mean we talked with Claire Caw about this morning about kind of the afterlife, talking
On the
about
Howard stream?
yeah, talking about hell and stuff, and it's like or in heaven, and I'm like I don't really heaven and hell. These are just ridiculous concepts for um for me. I feel like these are outcomes that are like not my business. What my business is what I think you would have us do here now, which
Yeah.
I think is vastly more important than what might be or what could happen to
So
whom or whatever.
yes. So just in the abstract, one practical thing, and then I have a question for you. Pick it.
Yeah.
Who else is someone else streaming? Did I mess this up? What's happening? Um,
Hmm.
what is I'm trying to look live no. I don't have any none of my subscriptions are live right now except Vanderclips, which is probably like the old rando
Yeah.
stuff.
It doesn't matter, right?
Well, it doesn't really matter, but I
Do
don't
we
want to be
really care
stuck.
about pick and choose things?
I do. I like that dude
You
a
like
lot.
everybody.
Yeah, but I like some people more.
There's that.
Yeah. I mean, I
Okay,
try to
help me
like
get on track
everybody.
here.
I think it's part of being a hopeful universalist. So let's think about the recipe thing, right? The recipe, the purpose of the recipe, if like you have a cake recipe, the purpose of the recipe, the purpose of those words is to get you to make the cake.
Mhm.
Now, there was a time when a lot of people baked before recipes. They didn't need the recipe.
Mhm.
They had this familial, embodied, or someone who makes something all the time. They probably don't need a recipe.
Right.
They just do it. Old like Italian grandmothers
Mm.
aren't sitting there, baking stuff off of recipes. They just
Oh,
know how to do it.
I
But then you made a recipe to allow other people to do it.
Mhm.
So like is the purpose of the recipe and following the words is to get to the cake.
Mhm.
So that's my thing is like how much is like Trinitarianism, Unitarianism, are those different recipes? But like if we're both making cake, does it matter? How much then does the identity affect the cake?
Mhm.
You
Well,
know what I mean?
yeah. Well, okay, first of all, I think the grandmother who's supposedly cooking without a recipe is in fact going off of a recipe. You just haven't seen it. She knows what it is. It's a very embodied recipe.
Yeah.
And
She
it will
maybe
be
couldn't even say it.
right. And then so she'll be, sitting with her granddaughter or grandson cooking and showing them along the way. And they might actually, without being told anything, kind of like pick up on the recipe.
Mhm.
They develop the taste for what the culture in that household is. The Now as far as like comparing recipes to infernalism, universalism, I think those are recipes about meals that don't exist.
Oh,
So I think because I think that the depth of Christ and the greatest story is far too vast for any recipe. So we're talking about theories about recipes, about theoretical recipes. They aren't actually any recipe that somebody's actually tasted, unless maybe they have tried it and they're doing the thing that the grandmother does, where she sits with the grandkids and then lives that recipe with somebody. You see what I'm saying? And now I'm making Claire call real pissed because now we're talking about all we got to do is say propolicity and we'll blow
what?
this shit up. Okay, so go ahead, continue.
But I think the idea that people are trying to get at with hell or the afterlife or whatever is they're trying to name they're trying to some degree, I suppose they're probably trying to point at like the ultimate end of things in their vision of um what the end looks like and how those things play out. So to some degree you're saying that that doesn't exist? Like if that's the cake, that doesn't exist, or it's not something we should be focused on?
I'm saying that the recipe's in your heart already. We ought not worry about the new kitchen and the new recipe because we're not the masters of the house. So the kingdom of is within you, the new heavens and new earth. I mean, are you going to do it? Are you
So
going to
this is
bring?
almost like, you know what? What you're saying reminds me of is essentially like Romans 1.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. For what can be made known, isn't that Romans 1 for what can be made, maybe it's Romans 2. For what can be made known as apparent. What verse is that? I'm
I
thinking.
don't know, but this has me thinking about 10 years ago. I would have said that it was probably unethical to have children and that it was something that I couldn't imagine doing, is bringing a child into this world because of how horrible the world is and can be. And then if I would have stuck to that understanding, and then I came to a place where I believed that I really wanted children, but that it was impossible that it would happen. and then I came to a place where, because of his sovereignty and his ways, that I was made into a father, and it was far beyond anything that I could have ever imagined. So that's what I mean about like our kind of certainty about these so-called ideas, these concepts, these theoretical recipes. Like, we can have faith that there are recipes, but that we ought not be able to discern what they exactly are. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so what you were saying is like that's God's business. We're not the master. And in some sense, like I really do agree with that. So the verse that when you were talking about this, because like the kingdom of God is within you, for what can be made known about God is plain to them because God has shown it to them. For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world in the things that have been made, so that people are without excuse. For although they knew God, they did not honor him as God nor give thanks to him, because they became futile in their thinking and their foolish hearts were darkened. So it's essentially saying like everyone is guilty when they don't do what they should do, because they all know what they should do.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone knows what they should do. I mean, somewhat that's the idea of conscience,
Mm-hmm.
like but then you can harden your conscience and sear yourself off from that. And that's like Jordan Peterson's lying to yourself thing. And then you're polluting your own organ of even being able to discern deception from truth. And that's why Satan's only tool is deception, which is why, like, at the end of the day, somewhat I think, like even in orthodoxy, like a theologian is just a holy person. It's not someone who knows, like, could name anything about the recipe of hell,
mm-hmm.
Or the Trinity necessarily. It's just like it's a holy person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what happens when reading or examining or making certain recipes kind of idolatrous? Like, what happens there? Because like
I think Antichrist.
Yeah, trying to be obsessed with. See, like, and I've told you this in the past. I think my difficulty with examining too closely other people's recipes, it's like maybe I'll be able to game the system, and I've only come to be able to see that that's true about me because of being able to really examine the deception in my heart that I have for things like self-deception, and like it's not of the highest. It's like it's something that when I'm distracted seems like it is the highest idea, but it's actually a distraction from the highest, because it'll distract me from actually loving. It'll have me thinking about the concept of loving rather than owning my role as a lover.
Dude, I see that all the time in my family. Like when my kids or me, when there's a fight, when my kids are fighting, like my son, very much, sorry, putting my son on blast. I'm just using you as an example. This is, anyone can do this, but like, it's very much just like, no, I'm like, this is about justice. There's like that thing where it's fighting, where like you're fighting with your sister, and I mean, she'll fight with him about whatever things too, but it's like, but he can't let something go because he's just like, this is not just. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, feel free to die on that hill, dude. Like, it's not going to go well.
Yeah. How do you know that though?
Well, because I just see, it's kind of like and this is something I'll talk about with him a lot. Like Jordan Peterson said, when you have a conflict with people, you can do three things: slave, tyrant, or work it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, what I see him doing is just like essentially being a tyrant. Like, I have an abstracted idea of justice. I think you've broken the justice somehow. And like, I cannot let that stand. I cannot let that go. I need to stand for a justice. But it's like your idea of justice. Like, maybe the justice thing is like you should, and I'm not saying this is always the case. Like this is where discernment comes in. Like, I don't think you can prescribe exactly what you should do in every situation. when somewhat, this is the idea even related to ICE and protests. When should you protest? When should you say, here I stand, I can do no other, like I will not back down on this? And when should you say, I die to myself, I die to my rights, I die to my ideas? Like you can go ahead, you can do it, I won't stop you.
Yeah. Well, I guess the reason why I was bringing it up is because I was hoping that you might be able to share your own shortcoming. Like, so when I asked, like, how do you know it'll fail? Is that because you've had the experience where you
No.
held on to something that you found was like folly to hold on to? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I see the resonance. That's what you're talking about. Yeah, I see the resonance in myself, like any long-standing conflict I've had with my wife where, perhaps her and I disagree about something and I'm just like, yeah, I can't let this go because this is right. Like, this is right. And it's like, well, okay, well, I guess just be right and alone. Like, break the communion over being right. Great.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. The eternal consciousness of seriousness. Eternal
consciousness. And then you're in the
seriousness.
Then you're in the existential reality of your own eternal conscious torment because you stood up for justice or right or whatever.
Yeah, I don't relate to any of that. Sorry, you're gonna have to change topics. Yeah.
I was just gonna mute. Are you just mirroring me? I was just gonna go mute myself and get a Kleenex so I could blow my nose because I got some morning boogies.
Okay, go ahead.
But look, this is the thing. Can I? And this happens, like, this is where I want to be resentful with my children because my children love to do this kind of thing. It's like whether it's with toilet paper or Kleenex or anything, it's just like, I'll take the last one and I'll just leave the empty box there. Or sometimes they'll like take one and they'll just like pull it out at the last one and they just like leave the one, just like one on top, Like,
it's like a booby trap.
Unbelievable.
They call that a boogie trap.
A boogie trap. Hey, play guitar and talk to people. I'm gonna go get more Kleenexes, and then Paul, come in here. What are you doing? Like,
sounds good.
Sermon prepping? Shut up.
All right. I'm just a Midwest evangelical. Yep. All right. So good. We handled that.
I haven't blown my nose yet.
Oh. I'm just a Midwest evangelical. Blowing my nose up on the YouTube. And I don't remember the words to this. Because I did not write it, some other guy named Chad did it. Amen. Amen. I'm ruining your stream.
Amen.
Amen. Okay, good. I'm glad we successfully ruined this stream.
No, it's fine. This is part of the people maybe forget, and this is very much how a Luke stream goes. It's like gravity and levity. We'll talk about the serious ideas, but it's also play. It's also silliness. It's also guitar. It's also blowing your nose. It's also talking about, because this is what I was thinking about as you were playing your song. Because sometimes, you'll make up, like, you'll change the lyrics and make up silly lyrics. Or people have this experience all the time in families, I think, where some song will come on. And sometimes I like to, like, you do your own Weird Al where you change the lyrics. And it's this weird kind of improv creativity thing. And it's funny because, like, certain people are much better at that than others. You've probably noticed that. Like, my wife sometimes, like, she'll do funny, like, makeup songs. She's terrible. She's terrible at making
my brother's great at
lyrics. Huh?
My brother is really great at it. I've never been able to really do it that well on the fly, but it's
so fun.
Yeah.
Or like funny voices, because like in the I hope this. I don't want to. There's someone in a Signal chat. The Signal chat that you initially started, the bigger group chat became Signal. You quit because you're just like, I hate this. I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm psychotic. I get it. Yeah.
And there are people in that chat that you and I both know who started doing voices, and then they'll send just audios, record saying things, but just like in someone else's voices. Like one of the voices that they do is who's the Curtis Yarvin is one of them, which
Oh, I
is
know who
fantastic.
this is.
Yeah, it was just fantastic.
Is his name Matt?
It is. Yeah.
Yep.
And then there's another one. I don't want to out it because at some point there's another voice that is my favorite thing about. If that group chat only was created for this one voice to come into existence, it's worth everything. It's worth
Are you
all of
trying
it.
to get
And
me to
I
come
hope it
back
comes
so
out
I
on a
can hear
live
these?
stream. Huh?
Are you trying to get me to come back so I can hear these voices? Because I can't.
Well, I'm sure I could send it to you. No, I don't want you to come back because then you'll
Thank
just hate
God.
quit it again in like a week.
I know.
You know?
Well, I didn't hate quit it. I dilly-gaff quit it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That means, do
Listen.
I look like I give a quit it?
Whoa. Yeah, and it kind of is. It's the two. I mean, there are rings within rings within rings.
You know the voice I like the best? I like the Nutcracker when you were doing the Nutcracker the other day. That was hilarious. I feel like that should be a
My Nutcracker voice? Oh, they're
yeah.
gone. The Nutcracker got put away for Christmas. Did I do a voice with it?
Yeah, you did like a whole voice with the yeah. It was really fun. I thought, oh, he's got good voices.
It's so fun to do silly voices. I'm not that great at it. McMo McMo and Nick are real good at
Yeah.
voices. They're excellent.
All right.
And it's fun.
So
Okay.
this video that you were playing just before
Yeah,
in the
Indy
kickoff
will.
here, was basically saying, from the gist of what I caught at the end, he's like, quit bullshitting, just be real. If you're a fuck up, show us how you are, and try to grow to not be that. Right?
Yeah, be a good character.
Yeah, and I would say I would add on to that. How about we like just this is the idea of tolerance. I know this. Oh, the tolerance word really aggravates people around here. But somebody told me that tolerance, the best way to describe tolerance, is the act of allowing somebody to be where they are. And I think that's
Ooh. But what if
yeah.
they're not in the right place, though,
Well,
Chad?
fuck those guys then. You know,
There
you
was
gotta
a
tell them.
like
That's
this
when
is
the self-righteous justice judge gets to come out and be like, you know, which I don't know anything about that because I'm very humble and put together, and I don't ever hate quit anything or anything like that. But
so but that's a very letting people be where they are. That's authenticity stuff. But then
no,
where's the balance? It's not authenticity because like that's almost a little bit different than like the sincerity culture. Because the sincerity culture is like you should be you need to be here though in
no,
like
no,
the
no,
group.
no. No, see, sincerity culture. This is where you failed to enlighten Claire Caw. I'll explain the
Okay,
sincerity.
enlighten me and Claire.
Sincerity culture, authenticity culture, and propolicity. Propolicity, just to sum it up right now, is for in this particular instance, Luke's propolicity is his mustache, his quirkiness, his very masculine actualness, colliding with his kind of like open femininity. That is the
Ooh,
propolicity of the Luke Thompson stream. Now,
sounds good.
authenticity um, has to do with like Luke standing on the idea that he is against confessionalism for particular reasons born out of his own experience, and he's being very authentic. He's being an authority about that. Sincerity is like um, I will be I will bow down to the whatever the ultimate authority is. So, like, I love PBK's illustration of sincerity with Edith on the Archie Bunker show was just the best example of that, I thought. Because, like, everybody's telling her, like, we're in the 20th century. You can go do whatever you want. You could divorce this guy. And she's like, no, this is my husband. And I do what he wants. And that's very sincere. And I think that's the layout there. So this idea of tolerance is being sincere to the idea that I'm being very sincere to the overall landscape of authenticity. So, does that make any sense?
I mean, I think so. I mean, yeah, I think so. Mark, don't mention the Trinity.
There's a little background noise, so you guys talk amongst yourselves for now.
Okay, you just, there's always the hard part about being in Georgia is everybody's always partying, everybody's always socializing, having people over, eating lots of ketchupuri.
Excuse me, sorry. That was true.
Not so much tonight. Okay, my wife's gone, so it's quiet for now. Chad said something I disagreed with, but when I was doing the volume stuff and muting YouTube and the conversation moved on, I've completely forgotten what it was. So, but that was why I jumped on.
But how will you correct?
It was irrelevant.
I think you got to correct him. Mark, plug your Substack. PVK said that you wrote a great one.
I'm wondering if PVK's even read my Substack. Talks about everybody else.
Maybe Chad needs to plug his first.
It's easy. It's Chad Albin. That's it. It's my Substack.
Well, Chad Albin. Mine's uneducated economist. No, uneducated philosopher. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez. Ian, big slam on Mark's loud wife. Listen, sometimes being loud isn't bad. Just, it just is.
She was just talking on the phone, just normal, nothing bad. It was just,
hey,
it was unconducive to a live stream. So
yeah,
I'm like,
no, I get it.
I'll just keep it on mute for now.
Yeah, you're good. You're fine. See, like this cat.
Didn't even spell Mark right.
This is the thing. This happens. You seem to invert the prophylicity theory of blah, 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 blah. Tends to happen when you don't actually read the concepts you try to use. Okay. Again, it's the infinite regress of meaning. This is like, okay, I wanted to say this because it's, how I was talking about, there's say like, what is matter? What is iron, the truck? And you keep going down, 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 down until ultimately like it's nothing. Like you can't explain what things are that way. It doesn't work. With information, it's the same thing because you could just be like, read the technical book that explains this thing. Okay. And then you say like, okay, we have the Bible and then we have the creed that explains these doctrines of the Bible. And then it's like, well, what does the creed mean? And then you write lots of books on what the creed means. And then like, well, what do those books mean? It's an infinite regress of meaning that way also. And so at the end of the day, it's just like whatever helps you to actually be a good person is the goal. Because like, it's back to the recipe thing. I was thinking about it. We have recipes now. We have more recipes in the world than we've ever had, and fewer people know how to cook.
And I was getting my propylicity definition from Paul Vanderklay. So, yeah. I got.
We have personalist knowing here. We get our meaning from people we know.
My understanding of propylicity is profile. That profile is my identity. And I could shape my identity by kind of monkeying with my profile. And that propylicity only exists in a culture where there's the internet. So, yeah, maybe I got it like 2% right. What do I care about what that person said?
Better than one.
Stupid. They're just dumb. They're not even up here to talk. Have they even shown their face?
I don't know. Well, and that's one of those unspoken things. That's one of those tensions. It's one of those opponent processing tensions in the TLC is like, do you have, and I think we've kind of established that at least in the body of the TLC, you have more credibility if you break the fourth wall, if you show your face, and that doesn't, there's the degrees of like, you can comment here in the comments and I'll maybe highlight them because I'm highly neurotic and I want to like, I'm always wanting to interact with, people say this, like any producer or podcaster or whatever, they'll say like, you get a compliment in the comments or something, or somebody says you do a good job and you're just like, okay, yeah, great, thanks. And like, you immediately forget it. And then somebody like criticizes you or says something negative and you're just like, it's just like, won't go away.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's the dominance of the 1 to 300. So it's like 300 or 299 to 300 dominance or whatever. So like 299 people who say they love me, but that one asshole, I swear to God, is driving me nuts. Like, I don't care about the 299. I care about the one. And maybe that's maybe
the sheep.
The sheep. So yeah, that one asshole sheep is like, F you, God, and God's like, you son of a. And
look at this.
Oh my God.
We landed a big fish. Look at, we got.
Is that the guy from Home Alone?
Kinda, yeah. Yeah. Are you? What's his Merv? What's his name?
I can't remember, but he just got hit with I think he just got picked up for prostitution.
What?
Soliciting a prostitute.
The Home Alone guy?
Yeah.
That's, listen.
Gossip, I know. Paul,
doesn't he know he's not supposed to do that?
Yeah. What do we know, really?
Look, it's me and PBK. That's so nice. It kind of that's about our height difference too. Oh man, look at that! So great.
My God, this guy.
It's a sainted luchador.
Look, it's your previous profiles.
That's hilarious. Oh, we finally get to see who this Chad the alcoholic guy is.
I hate that mask. I hate that mask so much.
Yeah.
This is comfortable.
You feel better as a saint.
It's me as Grail Country.
Oh,
so it's like, interestingly, their skin tone is exactly the same skin tone as the paint on the hand.
Oh, so ethnic. So ethnic.
This is very intentional. It's very much. But then I was like, is this actually profound? That like I'm finding, all that Jesus in yourself, blah 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 blah. Here I am.
Look at this.
Yeah. Lucas, you need to get in here. Get in here and show us like some muscle ups.
Oh, anyway.
David, what is up, Leviathan for Play? I do want to know what you guys, PBK, we've been talking about this in the signal on and off. Like, I go back and forth all the time of how much ideas matter. The best way that I can think about it is that they are seeds of potential. Like, I think they really are seeds. And I do think certain ways of talking about things are more and less in line with the truth. But what I ultimately care about is whether or not you go to work in the vineyard.
Yeah, but what if the seeds
terrible the vineyards?
What if the seeds pollute the soil?
Do they? Do bad seeds pollute the soil?
I don't know. I'm not a gardener.
Yeah, I don't know if you get credit for plowing the field if you plowed the field accidentally. You're allowed to repent and then plow the field, but I don't think you get credit if you go to murder someone and you accidentally perform surgery on them.
Like do you think people accidentally do good? Like someone
all the time. All the time. And sometimes they care about the or an example of it that I often use is like when Walmart says, "Hey, will you donate this money right before you make your purchase?" Do you think Walmart cares about that, or do you think that it's a form of advertisement for them to make them create a profile that appears to care more about the poor or the children's hospital or whatever the hell?
Well, I mean, there's definitely some of that going on, and arguably, I don't know how much. I mean, all those charities. I mean, we know this about charities is they're not always doing the things that they're purporting to do.
Or I've known people who donate, like there's a huge amount of donation right before tax season because people realize if I donate this amount of money, then so then you do good, but it's actually for selfish purposes, right?
Yeah, I only really ever compliment people just so that I look like one who compliments.
Well,
they
my
pay
wife
taxes in Canada.
Oh yeah. Oh, all the taxes.
Almost as many as Minnesota.
Me and my wife actually were talking about this because one of the things both of us would do when we were in an argument is we'd all of a sudden start doing more chores. It was like a way of being like, look, you can't. Who is going to do the dishes if I'm gone? You know, it's just like it's kind of a joke.
No, that's interesting. I was kind of getting like, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
But I mean, back to the like accidentally doing good. I'll acknowledge that too. But like for PDK, what are you doing? But for like, let's just use the example of the good atheist. Let's make it very practical. Let's use Rod Hare does not identify as being a Christian. My friend in here, Sam, doesn't identify as being a Trinitarian. I am both a Christian and a Unitarian. I think those are good men. So then what is the self-identity to the idea accomplishing in these cases? And is it just that these are special? These are edge cases? These are exceptions to the rule. On the whole, if you're a Trinitarian, you're a better person, or a Christian, you're a better person. Because like the goal is actually being the good person, right? So like I don't think Rod Hare's
the goal is both simultaneously. Is you want to do the thing, you want to do the loving action for loving reasons, because you can do a loving action for selfish reasons.
Did Calvin burn Servetus?
Yeah, he had loving reasons to do that.
Well, that's like, yeah, if you go into the history of all this church history stuff, and when they're fighting about it and there's like wars and they're killing heretics and stuff, like, you know, these people are professing the wrong ideas. So let's kill them in love for the good.
Right.
You know, I just don't know. I really am curious as to what this is me working on confessionalism and stuff, because I guess I would propose that when we forefront the ideas and the self-identity, it ultimately ends up on a whole being a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know, not helping.
Yeah.
Because then love becomes hate.
I was thinking about it because Chad had the guitar in his hand, right? If you're a musician and you're writing love songs for the person that you're with, but those songs also make you popular, you're not merely writing something for right? Like it's all of a sudden becomes layered, where it's like, if I'm performing a poem, then I'm not just thinking about my wife or whoever I'm giving the poem to. I'm thinking about a crowd of people, like, and that creates layers of what my intention is.
What if I have a talent and could write music, but instead only improvise and refuse to write music?
I think your greatest fear is not, what is that poem? You know what I'm talking about? Our greatest fear is not that we are. Yeah, you're beautiful beyond you can possibly imagine, Chad. See, now he's not even sharing the noodling because it's just too great of a power.
Well, partly because it'll walk on everybody else. If I start playing them, we won't be able to hear Lucas or Jason talk when they do talk. I could try. We'll try.
You can do it as much as you want. They're on mute anyway. Who cares?
Are you gonna make some rice-a-roni? Do you know how to make rice-a-roni from scratch?
No, I also wanted to be noodling.
Dumb.
Jason, Lucas, what do you think?
I don't know what I think.
I can't hear. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
It's super weird. I can literally only hear Luke. So anything Chad and David say, I can't hear for some reason.
Can you hear me?
You know what? I'm thinking
This
I'm
is how
gonna
I set up the
download.
stream.
Can you hear this?
Really?
Yeah, I only want because I know Europeans they're a little bit more vulnerable, and so I don't want to expose them to toxic ideas. So I only let them hear me.
To Chad and David's ideas.
Yeah.
But I'm
I guess I'll
Canadian.
have to
Canadian,
download the app or
basically
something and come
European.
back because I can only hear Luke.
Okay, yeah,
Thanks,
you
guys.
better block out and come back in or something.
All right. I'll be
But,
back, guys. Good to see you, Jason. And all the
Yeah, good to see you too. Yeah, if you were French Canadian, then I would say you're basically European. When
I have cheese curd. I have cheese curd in my fridge right now. Does that count?
So do I. Am I
Wisconsin,
Canadian?
Jason, your being a husband looks so good on you. I just
Thanks.
wanted to tell you that.
Oh, thank you so
I
much.
could see it in you, man. You
No
just-
one has been happier to be a husband. You are so like.
It's
Can
so
you go
great.
show us? Can
It's
you
so
show
much
us like your weird, like shirts? Like I'm obsessed with my wife and her
Oh.
face is all over.
Yeah,
it.
my wife's shirt. Yeah, I think I already did that on a stream. I can go get it though.
Luke,
You and more.
Yeah, we went to the zoo yesterday, and it was amazing.
sorry,
We have
Luke.
like a-
Luke, you think Jason is the most handsome person in the corner? Is that right?
He's the best theologian,
Is that
Yeah,
okay.
right.
and because he texted me the other day and he ended a great theological soliloquy with "Eat my butt."
Yum. Nice, sweet ass. Did I see a dentist afterwards?
I mean, that would be
From cavities to cavities, yes.
nice. Nice.
Woo!
Cavity, meat cavity.
Yeah, put it on. This is my.
Oh, there it is.
It says wife.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's
Wife. Fire, lightning. It's like a WWE.
It looks
wife
pretty
shirt.
metal. I know, it's great. It's got lightning on it and everything. I wore it at a show when we just did that tour.
You do. Is there? Can I look up a video of you
Yes.
playing
Type
rock
in-
and roll bass?
Type in Oyarsa on YouTube. There was a video from this summer where we played.
What is it?
Oyarsa, Oyarsa. You should know this. It's from that weird space trilogy, right?
Yeah.
Something like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're showing
Yeah.
stuff off. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab something because I want to show
Okay.
something off.
Yeah,
So
do
it's
I believe that show and tell should be like a more substantial element of the corner. I've wanted show and tells and talent shows to exist. In the
That's why
corner.
we're pro tank tops because we just
yeah.
want more.
This is a talent
Show-
show.
Show and tell.
Here, let's go. Let's play. We're gonna.
This is embarrassing.
What-
No,
Which one?
go up. Wait, which one would it be? Which one would it be in? I'm trying to think.
This?
Well, I wasn't at Bloodline. I don't know where I was.
All right.
Dark Tower.
Do me.
No,
What you
11 months ago. I'm trying to think.
about me.
Let me find the one I just recently saw. I
Is
saw
that
one.
you?
Let me
That's
look.
you, isn't it?
Yeah. The Mad Melt. That Mad Malts or whatever. That was from this summer. Yeah. You might have to fast forward some.
Let's get you to rock. No.
Because it's like 20 minutes long. It's the whole show.
There he is.
Those girls really agree in the front row.
These ones, yeah.
This was a fun show because we were right in the crowd. I got to jump into people. That was good.
Oh, look at so much fun, people. Let's see if Jason has good rock moves. Yeah.
That's basically all it is. It's just jumping around.
Yeah, bands are the like. Okay, what is your guys' idea on we got Lucas back. We got Ethan in here. What is your guys' ideas on like going to concerts? Do you just let yourself go? Do you embrace the inner child? How self-conscious are you at concerts? Do you sing along?
Do you bring your taxidermy to concerts? My wife walked in and I was watching one of Ethan's videos and she was horrified. She was horrified by the dead animals.
You bring your taxidermy.
I gotta go.
Okay, wait, Chad, show this off. Show and tell.
The daughter. My daughter is awake, so I have to go really soon. But I wanted to show you that. So I painted a little painting for my wife for our first anniversary, and then I made it into a blanket.
Wow, that's cool.
That's great.
You guys are the cutest.
So that's a good look.
And then this I got this for her for Christmas.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's
it's really good.
What that reminds me of is like Minneapolis inner city black culture shit. That's what that reminds me of.
Spy cam.
It's just like, you know how like
I like
it, like urban black people, and they just like wear, like on their cars or on their shirts, they just like wear just like pictures of dead loved ones and stuff.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Lucas can only hear me now. What a terrible experience that must be.
I know he's faking because we're gonna goad him into doing a muscle up.
He's just popping in and out. Yeah, he's going and getting his swole on. He wanted to put on a tank, but he's just like, first I got to go do some pull-ups. I got to get that pump.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to decide where my mic should be for dramatic effect.
Where's the link? It's pinned, Lucas. I didn't.
All right. I've
always thought Dutch people were smart. What the hell is happening?
He married a French girl.
Dutch people smart. Didn't Calvin burn Servetus?
Always with it.
I'll stop saying it. Okay, I gotta go.
I suppose it is important. Someone being burnt alive. Maybe it should be discussed more often.
See, this is old school. I haven't done a stream like this in a long time where it was just full on silliness. We've just stopped talking about serious things.
That's because you haven't brought me on.
Ethan, how have you been?
Lucas, everyone, pause. Let's see if this is working. Is this working?
Hear David.
Excellent.
I hear Jason say something.
Hi. Lucas.
No, you're supposed to not talk.
I'm giving up on you.
Can you do
Luke, I've been giving my wife a couple meow meows and she hates me for them.
Oh.
Meow meow.
I will say that and she will come up to me and say, this is really not.
Tell her to stop proving Jason right that she's a stuck-up French asshole.
That's my 5 minutes for you guys. I'm done.
I'm just
You're
kidding.
terrible, bro.
I'm just kidding, Lucas's wife. I don't think you're an asshole.
Can you bring up Claire's comment? Because to Claire's comment, I would say, how could you have a God that you fully understand? That's worse.
Ooh,
that's actually more preposterous.
Nick, talk to us. You have a beanie on?
I do. Mine's not just for show though. Mine's for actual utility.
One of my favorite things, do you guys hear the snort? I snort involuntarily now sometimes when I laugh real hard. It's the best. I love it.
Oh, nice.
I saw that Ethan was on and I had to come on. That's why I'm here.
I'm very excited that he's here and back too.
Well, I saw that Lucas was on. I haven't really ever met Lucas, so I had to come on.
Oh, Lucas on here. So you guys
not missing much.
So what have you been up to, Ethan? It has been a long time.
What have I been up to?
I can't hear anyone.
I got married in September. I live in Wisconsin. I work a corporate sales job now full time. So I'm like a stable individual.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's incredible.
Would you say that your wife has been have you discovered new wonders and depths about her, or has it been a disappointment since you've been married?
Yeah, I've discovered new depths. Yeah.
She's not gonna see this. You can be honest with us.
No, she's gonna hear it though, 'cause she's like upstairs. Yeah, No, I mean marriage is cool. It's hard,
Yeah.
It's like the best thing and then the hardest thing.
Yeah. People are dropping like flies. We need somebody to break the fourth wall. Frel says congrats.
Come on, Claire.
I'm just teasing. I know that Lucas, you are unbelievable. In and out and in and out.
The same thing happened again. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Dude, guys, after 5 minutes or 2 minutes, whatever, it starts to muffle, and then I just hear Luke or someone.
Yeah.
So
what's so hard about marriage? Well, being with another person intimately. That's what's hard about it. But it's also good. It's the best thing. Is it better, love? Better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all? Sometimes I think about, so my wife right now, she's gone for the weekend, and I think I normally I'm not super like this, but I was thinking like, if all of a sudden, like my wife, if she like tragically died or something, I would just be such a lost puppy. I wouldn't even know what to do with myself. It would be very hard. I would need a lot of people to help me and pray for me and come alongside me, because I would just be like, I don't even want to live now.
I feel the same way. I get it.
Yeah.
Ethan, are you still writing? Weren't you writing for a long time?
Yeah, I just started writing again in the new year. Once I like had a handle on work and stuff. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, because I thought you were living somewhere else too for a while.
I was in Alaska before that.
Right.
I was in Washington before that. I was in St. Paul, but I didn't know Luke Thompson at that point, sadly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was traveling.
Cool. That's nice. Oh,
and now I attend an Anglican.
I rolled out of bed.
It's attached to a seminary where Free Willian has friends at.
Oh, a seminary. I imagine if it was what seminary?
Do you have friends at Nashotah House?
Yeah, I was just there last weekend, bro.
Yeah, I attend St. Michael's, which is like has a relationship with Nashotah House.
Nice. Where are you at now? Pacific Northwest again?
Wisconsin. I'm in Wisconsin, southeast Wisconsin.
Well, I'm gonna be back up there. I try to visit Chad when I'm up there. I'm gonna hit you up.
Yeah, I'm exactly like 37 minutes away from Chad, or 43 minutes or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
How many minutes are you away from me?
Probably 6 hours.
So 3.5.
Well, trying to hang with Luke is like trying to friggin' find the leprechaun by the rainbow or by the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I can't even schedule a stream with the guy.
It's hard. I did it once. It wasn't easy, but it's possible.
It's hard to schedule stuff. It is hard to schedule stuff. Also, I'm like, this will maybe relate with Noah, the younger Zoomers, because apparently is like Mads Mikkelsen memes. Is that like a thing for Zoomers? But there's like, I saw something on Twitter the other day when it's just like, when you agree to meeting with someone in an extroverted mode and then driving there in an introverted mode, and he's just like crying. He's just like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. Introverted mode, and he's Sartori, I heard myself.
So
Do you have a chick for us?
I have this same one still here. I was going to start a stream, and then I was like, I should check if somebody else is already doing a stream, and you were already doing a stream. So,
where's your stream going to be on? Elevate this one.
It was how stories are like women.
Ooh, tell us.
Okay, so somebody in the corner was very, very generous. I don't know if they would want me to name them, so I won't. But they paid for me to do Martin Shaw's Symbolic World class on the Holy Grail, and so it's on Parzival, which is the version of the story that I had been like studying the most anyway, and I just had a conversation with Michael Martin about it. And so he's got his own version that he like based it on, and it was just interesting because I was noticing like there were some like details that are particular that he changed, and I mean there's nothing wrong with that in a sense because it's like that's basically the way that like there's like 20 million different versions of these stories, so everybody changes the versions, but I just thought like even from the beginning as I was like listening to it, like seeing what he changed, like some of the very particular things that had stood out to me, and overall it was great, and obviously he does a really great job, like he's a great storyteller, but I was almost thinking it's like he has so much experience with stories in general that like it's like a guy that knows a lot about women in general. If you have experience with like a lot of women, you will have a different type of knowledge and experience than you will have by spending your whole life with one woman.
Yeah. Jason, is that true?
What? Sorry, I missed the question. What? I'm dodging this.
No, Michael was just saying if you have experience with like a lot of women, it's different than if you just have experience with one. And I don't. I was just wondering if that's true.
Okay. No, it's not true.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So yeah, but so it was just interesting. It was interesting.
It said it's true over here in the comments.
Yeah,
true.
I'm wrong.
Frells has been around.
Oh wow.
Sorry, Michael. I'm not. I just it's funny to not say it, but
yeah. Well, what kind of experience? That's what we need to.
Well, I mean, if you have a lot of general experience, you're probably going to do pretty good right off the bat. But there's just there's something that's different in the particulars. I'm not going to divulge the particulars. I'll talk about the particulars in the story, not the particulars, between me and women, but or the one woman that I'm intimately familiar with. So it was just interesting because like some of the things that stuck out to me as like very particular, he kind of he put it into the more general way. It was the same way that like Alistair Roberts, he talked about Jordan Peterson's big book, We Who Wrestle with God, and he basically was saying like he's like getting the general like the like Jungian archetype gist of all the biblical stories, and he glosses over all the particulars, which is a lot more of the like Christological stuff. And I'm like, well, there's a value in that because it's like at least people are like, yeah, we should read the Bible, we should familiar ourselves with stories, but the particulars are what's going to make a bigger difference in your life. So, yeah.
Ethan, agree or disagree?
Full-throated agree.
Ooh, full-throated. Okay, good. Yeah. I think it makes me has anyone ever read the book, The Unbearable Lightness of Being? I'm trying to think of the person's name who wrote it. He was like it's one of those, I think it's it's kind of considered somewhat of a classic book, but anyhow, there's a dude in it who's just, it's a very sexual book. It's very graphic also. And it's like,
which one is this?
What's the name again? Unbearable Lightness of Being.
Okay.
And there's this dude in it who it's good. I really like it a lot. It's one of those books that have stuck with me, but this guy he describes his love of women so passionately, and he gets married to this woman, falls in love. I think he genuinely loves her, and then he ends up like he's constantly having affairs on her. Like he eventually gets up this job as like a cleaning guy, but he's like a gigolo, and he's just describing all these different women and how he loves women and all these sexual encounters. And I'm just like, you could tell like this. I mean, I guess in a way, like he had many experiences and loved, appreciated, lusted after many women, I guess. But it was just like, when you think about like girl crazy, like type thing, like it was this dude, man. He was just like everything about, he's like, I love every kind. He really liked women.
Except the French.
Except the French. Skank's I bet Skank has read The Unbearable Lightness of Being. How many books have you not read?
I thought he wrote it.
Most of them.
Well,
No,
he was in the class though. He was in the symbolic world class. So
it's true. I got Martin Shaw to comment on my handle. I was very, very pleased with myself. He said I sound like a skateboarder.
Nice. How many people? So in said events, like a Martin Shaw symbolic world class, is this like the Jordan Peterson College thing, but Peugeot's? Like, how many people are in there? How does it look like? Is it virtual?
Yeah, it's just like virtual. It's just like being in the chat of one of of a live stream you're not invited to actually participate in. So. Maybe there's like 200 people. I think it said, or something close to that. That were.
I think it got up to like 350 by the end of the week. It was huge. Yeah. I mean, they crashed the server after the first day.
Oh dang. Cassandra, not in my experience. I think those are the same thing. Just kidding.
Lucas, I like how your cat just drinks straight from the faucet.
That is so cute. Meow meow. Look at that cat just guzzling water.
Yeah, she refuses to drink from the thing, so.
She's like, that bowl is disgusting. She's like, give it to me straight from the tap.
We have to close the toilet, the door, everything, otherwise she comes in. So this is the better alternative, I guess.
How do you make this giant?
Do you even have a meow meow, Luke, or are you just talking about
I don't. I have allergies.
This is so disrespectful to me that you have a meow meow and you don't even get to experience.
Meow meow meow. But I mean, I love them too much. I can't have one.
You'll squeeze them.
I squeeze it. I would be like that that guy in what's the novel? You know what I'm talking about? It like has the mouse but loves the mouse so much.
That he squeezes it to death?
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, of course. Who has
the Green Mile?
To death?
It's not the Green, but the Green Mile's kind of like that. It is like that, but it's Of Mice and Men, right?
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't know.
Steinbeck, where he has like isn't there a? There's got to be like a scene where it's just like, I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I haven't read the book either. I saw the movie, but it's where is Neil with his big head? Yeah, and where's Mark Parker protesting? What's going on? Someone asked that in the stream. Mark, I don't think that's all you do is protest.
Where's Mark Parker? I haven't seen him in a while.
Well, Mark, I don't know.
Thank you, Paul.
Oh, mice. It's Green Mile. Mark, I think, is, I don't know, part of quitting the House of, well, not quitting, part of retiring, stepping away from the House of Wu, I think is just wanting to hand that over to Ron. And I think it really is probably because the House of Wu became like the House of Politics.
Social justice replacing the gospel.
Well, I mean, Mark, listen, Mark's not here to defend himself, but I think Mark would say for sure those are, I don't think he sees those as separate,
Right now, who has some Wu stories? I would love to hear them. Like actual, like ghost stories, angel stories, UFOs, Bigfoot, whatever you got. Fairies. I want to hear it. Does anybody have any? Demons? Oh, Lucas left. Oh my
gosh. Lucas is in and out. He's in and out all the time. Yeah, listen, get some woo stories. Hold it down. I'm gonna step
Nobody
away.
has any right now. What? Okay.
The best I got is I was car camping in the woods in the Pacific Northwest, and at one point something knocked on my door at an empty campsite.
I love this.
I And it's not like a like more knocks than just something falling on the roof of my car. It was like thump, thump, thump.
Was
Just
it
like
a woman?
sleeping in my sleeping bag, and I'm like, I didn't hear anything. I'm gonna just pull the covers over and trust
What
my
if it
four
was like
walls of
love of
eternity
your
to save
life?
me.
What if it
Is
was
that
What's
is
that?
that a butternut squash?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Thank you for your interest in my butternut squash.
nice. That's a big one.
I mean, I appreciate a man doing something on the live stream.
Yeah, you all just sitting there all the time, Jason. What do you do all day?
I'm literally typing on my computer all day. It's annoying.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it's all right.
All right.
That's
Luke?
He went away because I asked if anybody wanted to share some spooky stories or any woo stories, or
he's got some issues.
And he ran away. You ran away also, but you came back. So, have you seen a UFO?
No, but I always look for one. It's a bit disappointing. I really want to believe, and then it's just not happening. And I hear about the Tic Tacs and all this stuff, and maybe I'm not meant to be a UFO survivor.
What about like fairies? What do they have over there where you are? That's not fairies. Fairies is Scotland, right? Mostly.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen some machine elves for sure. The ones.
Oh yeah, when you trip.
When you trip.
Yeah.
You will see people and they all have elf ears and stuff. That's
What they say?
Experience. They just smile, just happy.
Oh.
Like the elves in the Lord of the Rings. They're just really happy and they're mischievous.
The elves in the Lord of the Rings are happy.
But don't you have that extra character with Santa Claus? Who's the guy that comes through?
Oh, you mean Santa Claus's servants?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some spooky territory. That's that will get this channel canceled if I talk about it, I think. It's like, you're not supposed to say the C word or the...
I think we should just cancel this channel. I mean, like, let's just get it over with. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
Jason, say some really outrageous things just to get Luke a couple strikes. He deserves it. He's done so many outrageous things.
Not cool.
I do.
Not cool.
I do. On this past tour with these guys, they were like, there's been... I think the whole time, every day, they'd be like, you've said some borderline, very, very...
I mean, if all of his signal chats were public, he wouldn't be alive, probably.
Yeah, probably. Probably not.
He'd be in serious trouble, and so would you. Yes.
What?
But I wanted to actually respond to what Michael brought in. I thought it was very interesting. Michael, I'm not a big knower of the Bible and its particular stories, but could you tell me how in your life the particulars have helped you as opposed to let's say, the more broader value of the Bible itself?
Well, I think, okay, so for one thing, I think, and I think this is kind of the same thing that happens with other stories too in general, is that people kind of like read a story and they will put, like, the Bible's very sparse, and it's the same thing with a lot of old stories. It doesn't have like a lot of internal narration about like what a person is feeling or something like that. And so oftentimes I find that people project some emotional state a lot of times on the characters, and then and kind of just assuming this is obvious, and a lot of this is like things you would hear like in a Sunday school with like where you're trying to teach these as like moralistic lessons. So it's like Cain is the bad guy and he just loved wickedness and that's why he does what he does. And and same thing, it's like Esau or something. And a lot of these it's a lot of the bad characters, I guess you could say. But then when you actually look at the text, it doesn't tell you so much of like what is the motivation or anything like that, but there are details there where you can figure things out, and you can figure things out. To me, it seems it's like, oh, well, actually, looking at them in a more logical way, like, I mean, there's almost like an assumption, like that especially in those early stories, as if everybody had already received all this moral instruction about what they should and shouldn't do. But it's like, the commandment not to kill only comes after Cain and Abel. And so it's like, okay, Cain and Abel is it was wrong. The consequences of what happened made it understandable why it's wrong, and then you get an explicit command. But if you do something before it's explicitly commanded, it doesn't mean it's not bad, and it doesn't mean that it's not a tragedy, but it does, in a certain sense, mean that you are not guilty in the same way. There's there's that, and that pattern goes all throughout like Genesis and into Exodus. It's like the mistake happens, and then the law that tells you not to do it comes after. So it's like, what does that allow? Well, it allows God to be gracious to those people that screwed up, and but we don't often hear them spoken of that way. And so that and there's similar things with like the Grail stories there that I noticed. And one of the things I actually would have liked, if I had gotten a question and answer, what I would have liked to know is, because he actually wrote his book before he became a Christian, and obviously he's always been familiar with that Christian milieu, but I wonder if there are specific things, like if he were to go back and reread the original material with fresh eyes, if he would have changed any of his choices for how he adapted it. I'd be interested to know.
Jason, respond.
Me? Why do I keep getting put on the spot here? Well, I'm wondering, because Lucas had asked about when you mentioned the particulars and stuff. I guess I'm not really tracking fully. What do you mean by that? You mean people relate to very particular events and the particular historical things that happened in the Bible, and that's where they draw their meaning from?
Okay, well, I'll give you an example of saying like where a particular matters. Because you say, okay, did Cain murder Abel?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Right. He didn't murder him. What the text says is that this is in the Hebrew. It says he attacked and killed Abel.
Like the hugging to death, like Luke was talking about with loving.
It's the same thing, and it's the same thing that Moses does when he attacks the Egyptians. Says he attacked and killed. So there's a couple different ways you can interpret that, but it's not murder. It's more manslaughter. Okay. Yes, he attacked, and the result was death, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it was an intentional act with the purpose of killing. The death may have been, it may have been a result of, he just didn't know how strong he was or something. My kind of interpretation of it is, I think that he expected Abel to fight back, and Abel didn't fight back, and that and that's kind of the putting the Christ image onto Abel a little bit more, because and that part of the reason why I come to that is like, well, it does say that God chose Abel, and we just feel like we chose him, and did Cain mess up his plans of choosing Abel? Well, that seems like dumb. Like if God's plans can be messed up that easily, well, he chose him. God gets what he wants. He chose him for the fact that he would not maybe respond in violence. That's my interpretation of things, and I've wrote it out like in much bigger details other places. Try to do.
So kind of talking about the particular use of words. Is that what you're getting at? The particular use of words in a story to not.
If you just go out and say, "Oh, you murdered him," look, he attacked him. He's dead. Obviously, he's a bad guy. Obviously, case closed. End of story. But you have to look at the close details because then it's even just like, it's almost just this thing of, why is it in there? Just so that we know like killing is bad. Like that's the only purpose of the whole thing. And then you get into the whole thing of like, why does it tell us about what happened with his descendants? And it's trying to say, well, that's maybe this is the things that leads to the flood. But it's just like, it's such a like very thin excuse. Like it's projecting so much later information into that story. The story itself doesn't support it. And you have to think, it's like, well, okay, when Noah stepped off the boat, he had like, 9 chapters of Bible. That's all he had to like, those are the only stories he had. And it's like, why did he, what was so important, about those particular instances that he made sure to preserve those? And like, if it's just murder is bad, like you could have just had him kill him and then, and murder is really bad. You don't have to add, why add his genealogy and all this other stuff?
Yeah, that makes sense. We're just really looking at what it says. Like, why would it even say that he's a keeper of sheep and Abel is a or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the weird things that seem like they almost shouldn't be preserved or something. Like, why didn't that get lost in translation or over the years? But then I've also thought kind of the opposite too about reading Genesis 1. I'm like, why doesn't it say more? Like, but it almost is able to say more because it says less or something.
Yeah.
So then it can allow it to.
Yeah, it's such a loose framework that it can fit so much into it, even though it doesn't say it all explicitly.
So what are you finding with the Grail story, Percival, with that, the similarities with that? Is it?
Well, so this kicked it off on the first day is this incident with his mother strangling these birds, which he changed the details, because what happens in the original text is that Parzival, the main character, he's like this super isolated, ignorant kid. He's a kid on the spectrum, and he grows up in the woods, and he's he first like starts making all these like weapons and like little spears and bows and arrows and stuff like that, because like his mother he's raising him in the woods because she doesn't want him to grow up and become a knight like his father who died. But the thing is that it's showing you like it's in the genes, like the warrior spirit is in the genes. So he's going out and hunting and all this stuff. And in the book, there's this one moment where he like sees a bird singing or whatever, and he just like raises his little spear, and it's like it's weird because it is actually telling. It's like he doesn't know the consequence of like what's going to happen. I think it's probably like this must be like the first time he kills an animal or whatever, but he kills a songbird. He kills a songbird, and it makes him super sad. And then his mother is and then he's every time he hears the bird sing, his he gets so sad, and that makes his mother have the servants kill all the songbirds. But then eventually he explains to her like, no, don't kill them. I don't want, that's not what it was. And she actually explained, like he talks to her, and then she explains like, oh, you're feeling guilt, like you're feeling regret. And it's like, so he has it where like he made the mother like the birds were inspiring him to like go out and explore because they're so free, and then the mother's like trying to keep him trapped there, so that's why she kills all the birds. It just totally changes the character of the mother and the relationship. And it was interesting because that was such a particular instant that stuck out so much to me when I read the original book, and not that he changed in his version.
I think part of Shell's whole deal is kind of reckoning with the fact that these stories also kind of transform with the tellings. And so I don't know if that's sort of like how he, after reading, ruminating, felt like that was more fitting. Like storytellers, I think in his kind of like school have a lot more agency in tweaking things to head in a specific direction. Like, and the point that he made with Strangling Birds, it was a very emotively powerful thing.
Well, that was why. I mean, did you hear my analogy that I started with, Matt? Stories are like women. Mm-hmm. The more familiar you are with them in general, the less capacity you have for the particulars. So I mean, and I think that's the thing. He's like, whoa, we're shaping like he's coming at it with so much of like this knowledge of stories in general and the patterns of the things, and so he's like he is shaping it in his way. But it's the particulars that stand out that really make it unique in some ways. And I mean, it's really interesting because that whole, it's weird that German version is like the best, but but it's also like it stops, like nothing evolves off of that one. Everything that comes evolves like out of the French story and like into the English. And so, and it all goes in this totally different direction. And the German version is so interesting when you realize it's like 300 years before Martin Luther, but it sounds like a Reformation. Like it's like, these people are like, there was a difference between like the French and the Germans that is more present in what happens in the Reformation, more so than just like the differences were already there. It's not just, you can't blame it all on Luther, essentially.
Okay, I have a question. So Skank, you saw Martin Shaw, I don't know, it was a year ago or whatever, up in Canada, and you said this thing to me where you said Shaw said something like, a story is a living thing. And I'm just curious, did he talk any more about what a story is? What do you guys think a story is? Do you think a story is a living thing?
Well, this is interesting because I'm like, Sartori's point is that Shaw was not actually paying attention to the living thing that he was talking about, because he was like, he's almost like, he's not looking at like the specific, I don't know, like jaguar in front of him. He's thinking of like the biological classification of all jaguars as a category and reading the specific personal story through that. He didn't like, this was like this past week was just purely kind of like telling the story. He didn't talk a lot about like storytelling praxis in general. I mean, there's a few Q&A questions, but I don't think that specifically came up.
Can you say more about that? I'm trying to track, because I think, I mean, I would think that stories can be living things. I don't know that they always are, but I'd like to hear you say more on what you're talking about, Matt.
No, I definitely think they are. And I think one of the things that like Shaw demonstrates through kind of his approach, like a real specific respect and reverence, at least for stories in general. If in the sense of like, he thinks that the story itself has a moral claim on you. Like you have a certain like moral responsibility to treat the stories correctly, to treat the stories well, reverently. And he also has this like woo mystical bit where like, if you betray the story, it's going to leave you in some sense. Like story with a capital S is something beyond a purely human creation. And I think the stories we're telling, you're trying to tap into, I don't know, capital S story, which may be another way of talking about like the logos.
Yeah. And I think I would agree with that. I've heard a little bit of Martin Shaw, and I usually like what he has to say, but I haven't heard a ton. But yeah, I think I've thought that before too. I feel like the more a story gets defined, well, I don't know, there's something I'm going to think about more, because I've thought in the past that the more a story gets defined, the more it kind of dies. Like if you like, even with a painting, if you paint a picture and you're like, this painting means this, and you reduce it to that single interpretation, then it kind of, I feel like, isn't really living as much. But then, I don't know, I'm thinking about it again right now, listening to Sartori talk about it, and like, I guess maybe really defining it into a very particular definition kind of solidifies it into a very particular moment in time, which you could then look at later or something from a broader thing and still find life in it somehow. Like, or at least that's what I'm thinking about when he was talking about the German story being different from the French. It's like, because you have these other, you find like
an
identity in it or something where it doesn't
or
have
just
to
the
be
idea like the the seed of the story, like it flowers, it blossoms in different ways in different cultures. So like you have the German Percival, and I think maybe what Sartor is noticing is that the German Percival story is being retold by an Englishman, and he's been doing this for decades, and it is some of the Germanness is being lost because he is noticing more of what like the English cultural logic would see.
Yeah.
And so he's taking the story and replanting it in the ground that he grew up in. And there's some biological contamination.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. Looking back at the last year, what is the newest, most alive story you experienced? And I can go first.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me
I saw the film Hamnet, which I know is a book. I'd never heard of the book. But the film came up, and Jane and I went to see it. Like, it's probably late fall. Probably late fall, early winter. We went and saw it. And it's just been a long time since I've like cried. Like about before the halfway point in the movie, I started crying, and I was never able to stop crying until the end of the movie. And I haven't had that like strong of a reaction to like any piece of art in just a very long time. And I feel like it's just going to be like an experience that like sticks with me for another year.
Wow, that's high praise. I have to check this out.
What was it again? What was it called?
So the movie's called Hamnet.
Okay.
Hamnet. And
recent movie?
Yeah, it came out. It came out this last year.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I'll have to check it out.
I think in the book it's kind of a surprise, but like I'll give it like a light spoiler. It's not really a spoiler, but it's about William Shakespeare and his family, and it's about the writing of Hamlet. And so the story goes, it's like after the death of a child. So it's like incredibly intense. And I don't know, trigger warning a little bit, because like if that's a sensitive topic, then don't go see it. But yeah, it's just incredibly powerful to me.
Yeah. It just won some award, right? Last week or something, I think. Hamnet.
I don't know. I know it was nominated for stuff.
I heard that the actress was extremely good in it.
Jessie Buckley.
Yeah, I heard some really good stuff about it. Me and my wife are going to see it soon as well.
So, I wasn't done shoveling, and you're talking about Hamnet.
Because you're reading the book. I saw you read the book somewhere.
Yeah, because I read the book in preparation for the movie, because I saw the trailer for the movie.
Yeah.
And the trailer would just like... The trailer was making me sob. What did you say, Jason?
You didn't read the book, did you? Oh, no.
You ChatGPT'd the book. Okay, keep going.
Jason, quick aside. On a podcast we did, I told you that I was reading a book, and I read only like 10 pages. And my wife still gives me shit for it to this day. She's like, "Oh, you're reading a book again? Talk about a podcast."
Yeah.
So Luke and I definitely have a similar experience.
Yeah, who cares? I talk about books all the time I haven't read. Get over it.
But you're really reading this one in preparation for the
I read it.
Yeah.
I read the whole thing because the trailer is, if the trailer is at all representative of the feel of the movie, it's going to be like a hidden life for me, like what you were talking about, where me and my wife went to that movie not prepared at all. I was visiting my parents outside of Dallas because it's like limited release, because it's Malik, because no one gives a shit, because it's not Marvel. But we went in there unprepared. We found out she had one Kleenex, not enough for both of us, as we're just like sobbing through half of the movie. Like, I can't even talk about that film without crying. And if Hamnet is anything close to it, I actually wonder, I'm interested to see it. I'm waiting, because like for me and my wife to go to a movie together, it's like, it takes real coordination. but I want to go see it with her because she read the book too, like a long time ago, and loved it. And she's got some hesitation to seeing the film. I think the film's gonna be really good. I actually think it might be one of those weird situations where I might like the film even more than the book.
I think it'll be possible.
Yeah, because I could just, from the way they set up the trailer, I'm just like, whoever the acting, it's like one of those things where everything comes together, like the acting, the directing, the music, and it's just like, damn, they like hit a vibe. And because the book's excellent, like it's very, I mean, it's good. The book is good, but I'm very excited for the film because it's just like, I saw it and I'm just like, it's gonna be a sob fest.
I'm curious, Ethan, what made you ask that question? Because when you said what's the most important story right now, I think there's something there for sure.
Well, I think for me, part of it is like, I feel like so often I find myself in conversations where people are like, there's no good stories, it's all dead, it's all, and I'm just like, I understand that there's no good stories maybe like that rise up to the mainstream and become like the cultural conversation.
Yes.
But I think like, at least, I mean, independent film, I think there are tons of good stories.
Yeah.
But maybe like you just have to dig for stuff right now. Like we're in a time where you have to dig for the good stuff. And so I was curious, just like in the last year, what did people experience in art that's a story that they thought was like new, not like a rehash, and like fresh and alive, because I think we don't talk enough about that, and I think it's out there.
Yeah, it is. I only just started to discover more alternative film. Like we have in our country, we have a bunch of these cinemas that only do more alternative movies. And for me and my wife, it's like a whole new world opening up. And we're gonna get a subscription and seeing stuff every week. And it's amazing. But I also see some level A actors doing it. Like it's a really weird one of a Japanese guy. Do you know the guy that played in The Whale? What's his name again?
Oh yeah, Brendan Fraser.
He did a really good one where he plays an American actor in Japan. He's completely failed, and he has to play
Rental Family. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that one?
No, but I'm excited because it's the same thing. Like my wife got me a membership to the Minneapolis Film Society, which is a theater like by my home, where that's all they show is just like dorky art house films. So like another one, I think I maybe told you this. It's I think it's in Dutch, but Sentimental Value. I can't think of what the name of it is.
I saw it.
So good. Like that's for me. That's one of them that I was just like, this movie is so good. It's unbelievable.
How can you believe that's Dutch, Lou? Come on.
Huh?
Have some respect. It's not Dutch.
No, I didn't say I can't believe it. I can't believe it's good because it's Dutch.
No, but it's Norwegian. Yeah, it's really good, and it's half Norwegian, half.
Oh, Norwegian. Sorry, I just see you're here. All I can see is you.
Thank you.
All I'm thinking is Dutch.
All I can see is your beautiful beanie. And he goes again, like the absent father that I wish I had.
Yeah, where did he run away?
Jason.
What's up?
Speak to me.
Do you have any stories that have been alive for you lately? That really
well, not necessarily, but I was captured by the question because indeed I do feel this thing of there's no universal story anymore, nor are there stories that we as a culture follow and watch. Like people used to watch the same TV show like tens of millions or even more every single week, and there's something to talk about that we share. And now the only thing that we talk about that we all share is Trump or whatever war is going on. And I think that definitely reduces something in a culture where we used to be able to talk and share higher things, cultural things, artistic things. And so I feel a lack of that for sure, where if I'm with colleagues, I think, what do we all have in common? The first thing that pops to mind is just the news we consume. And so I feel I miss that. I do miss that. But there's not necessarily a story that comes to mind. What about you?
Mine, I think the only one, I was trying to think about that after Ethan asked the question. I think it would probably, the one that's come back to my mind the most the past year is the Mahabharat, that I didn't actually read. I listened to it all. But the one I listened to online also had the middle portion cut out, or the Bhagavad Gita, the part that most people like. So the Mahabharat's just kind of the rest of the epic, which was fine. Like I was kind of weirdly uninterested in reading the Bhagavad Gita. I don't know why. I feel like maybe because a lot of it feels like stuff I would talk about or have already talked about with you guys.
Yeah.
But the story aspect of it is, it's. I feel like a lot of the Hindu stories have kind of done that for me. They're weirdly kind of perplexing, but then they kind of just sit and germinate. And there's still aspects of it that I don't really understand. Like it just felt like bad storytelling. But then I'm like, well, why would this remain? You know, like why wouldn't they change the story if it's this ancient? Like why did they keep it this way? Where like there's one part where they're gambling with dice, and like the good guys, quote unquote good guys, the Pandavas lose like everything. They gamble everything away, and then the king is just like, like a moment goes by, then he's like, no, none of this counts, and it's like, okay, like you're waiting for like something big to happen, or like them because they're in this huge predicament now, and the king's like, no, let's just ignore all this, and it just kind of almost feels like bad storytelling or something. But then I'm still sitting here wondering about it. I'm like, there's probably something about this that I don't quite get that is actually really profound. But
I feel like I don't get the whole thing when it comes to these type of texts. I'm curious as to how you get something from them at all.
Well, the thing I get out of it mostly, the Mahabharata as a whole, is there's just so many characters, basically fighting for, to basically rule. There's so many characters that are involved in this huge like epic war, and then every time I hear people like get into politics, a lot of times that story just comes to mind. I'm just like, they're just doing their dharma, I guess. They're just doing what God created them to do. Like whether they're fighting for this side or that side, or it's just brothers fighting in a big war, you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what comes to mind, I think, mostly. As it is, they're all like, I think they're all related somehow. And I think that's how the Bhagavad Gita starts, is it's Arjuna right as the war is beginning to start and he's going to battle. He's really struggling with it because he's like, wait, these were my teachers growing up that I'm having to go fight in a war against. These were my brothers. These are my cousins. Like, why do I have to go kill my family? And then Krishna's like giving him all these reasons and stuff to do it. But yeah. So I think that comes to mind mostly with that story. And I think that's why that's probably come to mind the most. Because like you're talking about, everybody kind of talks a lot about politics now, or what's going on in the news, or this or that. And so then that story kind of comes to the back of my mind and just kind of, I don't know, weirdly, it has like this, creates this sort of undertone to it all or something. But yeah, so that one, there's other Hindu stories that have stood out to me a lot, but they haven't been as fresh in my mind. So.
All right. Matt, any story?
Excuse me. I can't quite comment fully because I'm still kind of in the middle of it, but I'm working my way through Mark Danielewski, the guy who wrote House of Leaves. He just published this like massive tome called Tom's Crossing, and I'm really intrigued just because it's such a kind of like simple, sparse story, and part of me is just trying to figure out like how is he going to string this thing along for 1,200 pages. But like I'm very invested. Like essentially like it's this. You've got these two like childhood friends that meet in like 1980s like small town Utah, and they kind of like bond over stealing their neighbors' horses and going on joyrides. One of them gets cancer and dies, and sort of like his dying wish is like we have to set these guys free before they get taken to the glue factory. And the entire kind of like the setup to the story, like because Danielewski, House of Leaves guy likes to kind of pop it out of frames, and he keeps kind of like making note of the fact that like what happens in this story is kind of like effectively the Iliad for this community. So you've got like kind of like pops out of the narrative to kind of talk about like how the community's kind of made sense of what happens here, and I don't know, like it's really kind of like caught me, and I'm just frustrated that I kept find so little time to keep plugging through.
I'm impressed you're able to read a 1,200-page book at all. I don't know anyone that's able to do that.
I haven't yet, so who knows if I'm still capable.
Yeah, with a
Okay,
beard like
maybe we
that.
shouldn't talk
gosh.
about the books we're gonna read because then we don't end up reading it. That's my
Not
experience.
going to. I am. 400 pages in. I'm pot committed, man.
Okay, you're proper. You're proper. Jason,
What is that?
you're
What
gonna
is
say
that?
something.
Oh no, I was just making a joke because I thought you were making comment on his appearance, so you were surprised he could read.
Wow.
I'm surprised you could
Jason
read a book that big.
Wow.
Are you
So-
still up near the Seattle area? Where are you at again, Matt?
Yeah, a little bit south of Seattle.
Okay, cool. Are you still making balloons?
I am. Got to go work in Gig Harbor today and then Maple Valley.
Nice, cool.
Mhm.
That's cool. Yeah, I heard you mentioned. I think you said Iliad or something. That was a story that I just this past last week, a friend of mine was talking to me about reading that, and he said one part that stood out to me that but I need to actually read the story again. I think I might have read it in high school, but he was talking about Achilles when I think it's in the Odyssey actually when he summons all the dead spirits or something in the Odyssey, and Achilles said like, I wish I would have just gone home. I should have just gone home or something like that instead and just lived a simple, normal life rather than died for glory and stuff. And I'm like, man, I feel like that resonated with me because that feels very like Ecclesiastes to me. Ecclesiastes is always the one.
I mean, in the middle of the Iliad, also, like Achilles has this whole like one whole chapter is essentially like a Greek Ecclesiastes. He's like nothing matters. He's been thrown into this kind of like mode of like senselessness. Like that's part of why he pulls himself back from the battle at the beginning is because like the rules of the universe have been broken, and so he's like, well, nothing matters anymore. Why would I do anything? Why would I die? Why would I live? Why would I? It's really like remarkable.
Yeah, that's cool. I probably should read that sometime, but I probably won't. I'll read 10 pages and say I did.
Nice, Jason.
Yeah.
Completely different topic. I was watching this podcast with this Amazon rainforest guy, Paul Rosley. I don't know if you guys heard of him. He's been on Rogan and Lex and whatever.
Yeah, dude's wild.
He's wild, right? And he went to the rainforest and they found an uncontacted tribe and they actually made contact, gave food to them, and apparently they're extremely violent. And there's these really crisp, sharp footage of people that have just been, they're prehistoric. And you look at their appearance and you look at the way that they look at them, and what to me comes to mind is just what are these people's thought patterns? What are the stories they tell themselves? And also it makes you reflect on, we have so many stories to our disposition. Like Jason is reading Hindu text. I don't know if you should.
You don't know if I should.
You know that the way that they are raised and the way they're brought up, I think the plurality of stories and all this information that we get is so different from theirs. And I don't know exactly where I'm going with this, but I just wonder what you guys think of that. How their experience is different from ours. To what degree should these people just be left completely alone? You know what I mean? Yeah, I wonder. And also their first reaction to any contact is just pure violence, raging violence. That they seem pretty peaceful amongst themselves.
I mean, if they have this strong wall of violence against other cultures, why do you feel the need to contact them? Like, what's your purpose for enclosing them in our world and subduing them?
Yeah. Good point.
Do you think that's how UFOs feel about us?
Well, I have
That's
no idea
Independence
what
Day.
UFOs are. I just don't know what they are. I don't know what they would be. I don't know what they are. I don't know. But I do like thinking about us like an uncontacted tribe, and just to think that thought pattern out. I don't know. There was this show that was trying to kind of get at this recently. I forget the name of it, where it's with this gaming console. Jason probably saw it.
What does that mean?
I just assume.
You should write.
Where there's basically an alien species that needs a new world, and then they start to contact us, and they don't actually contact the global leaders. They contact more of the the people that might be. What, Jason?
No,
What do you
I'm
make
this is
this
no, this is just I'm sorry, I'm listening. I was thinking about because Becca and I were listening to on our drive back from Washington. I think we were driving through Nevada or something. We were listening to UFO stories, and it was kind of similar. It was like all these stories about these people making contact, but it was like random, just civilians or police officers or something. Like it wasn't anybody important. But they would get taken up, and the aliens would tell them like, "You have been chosen. You've been selected." Like all this stuff. You will remember. It sounded kind of odd.
Yeah, and that's generally what happens, right? In these abduction stories type of thing.
Yeah.
And now we have Avatar being a very popular story, going back to stories. Third one came out, and I think a lot of people are just deeply longing for being natural, for being something like that. And then there's that tension between, oh, these people are extremely violent, they kill at first sight. They don't seem to have a similar sense of morality. When they see something that they don't know, they kill it to examine it. That's just kind of the regular thought pattern.
Yeah, that's it. That's super interesting. I wonder if that's just easier, like if you live that life. Because I was thinking about that, like yesterday. I think just like if it would be how hard it would be to kill a pig. Like if I just had to slaughter a pig. Like I think that would be such a hard animal to kill. And then I was like, I don't know if I could kill a cow. Like a cow would be really hard.
I couldn't do it.
Maybe I could kill a goat. I've had to kill chickens before, but I'm like, but then I wonder if like you're just hunting all the time, like if that is your lifestyle, that you just kind of, it's just becomes, you're so used to seeing that breath leave a creature that's just your response. Yeah.
And what's morality?
I was going to say, look, what does it say about like this desire for naturalness if you need like dramatic violence to maintain your natural state? Like what does that say about violence?
Yeah. Well, it's the only thing for them, this uncontact tribe, that works. Because I think if they wouldn't have done that, it's this defense mechanism that they probably learned from all the generations that have gone through something similar, where this is what you do to survive. What does it say about them? And also, what does it say about their morality? For us, it's very clear. Like, we don't have a clear necessity to kill, to thrive, or to exist. But if you do, what does that make killing? They seem so natural that it's almost like, is it unfair for a lion to kill a hyena or something like that?
Yeah. There's this part in George MacDonald's story, The Golden Key, and it starts with like this lady, she's like making there's like this rainbow colored fish or whatever, and this little girl goes to her hut, and the lady's gonna kill the fish, and then the little girl I think there's something where she's concerned about it or something, but he makes a statement where he says it's the highest goal of the animal to be eaten by humans, and it seems like such a like almost like petty or like simplistic way to view something, but like if I really sit there and think about it, I don't know, I've thought about it a lot. It feels like it would be the highest, because just knowing kind of George MacDonald's, I don't know, like theology or the way he kind of thinks in his other stories, it seems like he's saying that offering up, like being the creature being able to offer itself up to be consumed by a higher creature is like kind of its telos or something like that, which kind of makes me think about us and God or anything we would see above us. Like our telos is to offer ourselves up to basically eat my flesh, drink my blood type thing. But then, that makes me think about just like you're talking about different community to community too. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess it also depends on the situation of the animal. Like, I mean, when you say it's the telos of the animal to be eaten by us, I just think like, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, well, it's a wild statement, but then like if you project it on yourself, like is it the telos of man to be eaten by other men? Like Christ says, eat my flesh and drink my blood or something, like to actually offer yourself up to the world in that way.
Clearly higher.
Yeah, so I think there's something in him making that statement that's always really intrigued me, that I think is incredibly profound, that I haven't quite got yet.
Yeah.
What's weird is that he's simultaneously offering his body up to God, but also offering it down to us as well. It's this weird, it's not going in a single direction.
Yeah. Jed's here to fill in the Bhagavad Gita part that I left out.
Is that what we're talking about right now?
I mentioned Mahabharata earlier, but no, we're talking all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
Tribes.
Well, good morning. I'm
and
just waking up. I slept in this morning. It was a late night last night.
That's good. What? Okay, let's see. You're West Coast. So what are we? 10:41.
This is my second cup of coffee, so I've been up for a little bit, but we're moving slow when you're up till 3 in the morning.
Were you clubbing? You go to a rave?
Always, dude. Yeah, it was lighting the bonfires, glowy sticks, maybe a little bit of Molly.
Oh, just a pinch.
Just no.
There's
up working.
What I thought was interesting is you guys were talking, and I wasn't as passionate enough as Hamnet to just stop shoveling again. I finished, but the uncontacted tribes and violence. I think of that stuff so much in terms of some degree of spiral dynamics. Like I think there are like an uncontacted tribe that's just like been isolated for, let's say, thousands of years. Like they really are in a form of cultural evolution. Like I think you were saying that really well, Lucas. I think like the necessity of them killing for their survival is just like so instinctually ingrained that like the kinds of ideas that we have with like a martyrdom, Christian sacrificial thing, modern nation state thing, where like that kind of just like straight up bare bones, red in tooth and claw humanity, like we're so far from it to be able to even understand like that.
Except that's not quite true. I mean, like we still like on every level like need to like we sustain our life through the death of other things. Right. It's just deeply, deeply hidden from us. It's abstracted out in a way that like forces that like allows us to live in a delusion.
Well, and it was that's one of the reasons I jumped back on. I was watching some of that footage this week as well, and they present like the tribe as beautiful, and you see these guys and they have like amazing six packs and everything, and it's because they're all young, because all the elderly die. The women are hidden away, and there's stories of them being like stolen, and
sign me
like
up.
There's no place for the sick, and everyone's starving, and there's no elderly. So like it looks so pristine because all ugliness has been purged. And then they're talking about it as like the guy kind of makes statements about like, we feel guilty about what we did to the Native Americans, but we have this opportunity right now. And I'm like, do we need to preserve a culture that doesn't think murder and rape is wrong? Like, I don't know if that's something we need to preserve. It like, there was this underlying thing that I just kind of saw there that it felt, what's that called? When you see like the holy savage, where you're looking at these people as like beautiful and majestic. It's like, yeah, but you're not including the assault that facilitates the existence of the people.
Yeah, you're only seeing them as a way to use them as a polemic against the things in your culture you don't like. Yeah, right. You're only seeing their usefulness to you and your ideology.
Do you guys think it's legitimate to say that no, to some degree, no culture, because of the necessity of death and whatever, is like there's nothing. It's not better or worse. There's no solutions. They're just trade-offs.
There's better.
They'll hide the death.
Yeah, there's better. I think in this situation, I think the relationship between men and women that is consensual is better than a non-consensual relationship.
Yeah, consent also hides things too.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Like I do think that we have different sins. Like I don't know. Is it better the number of abortions that happen in North America versus the number of children with disabilities that are tossed onto a pile in those cultures? like which one is better. I get that might be something very different, but I don't know. I still think there's better and worse.
I think one way that I think about it, I don't know in like an objective sense. I think different cultures are better and worse in different ways.
Yeah.
But all I think that like the question, like maybe a more fundamental question is like with every culture, violence goes somewhere.
Yes.
So in your more tribal or more primitive, quote unquote primitive. I mean, who knows if that's a good designation or not, right? Their violence is direct, right? It's related to land, family matters, tribal territories, these kinds of things. It's very direct, in your face, and you actually have to be upfront and personal to commit the violence. But like if you've read like Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness or watched Apocalypse Now or some of these kinds of films, like in our cultures, we tend to peripheralize our violence, right? So it's not as present in the center as it is in the peripheries of what we have to do to sustain the kind of cultures and civilizations that we do. So it's like that Heart of Darkness, like we don't think about, most of the time, just because it would be overwhelming, is like, even in your iPhone or in our computer that we're talking on right now, how much suffering is baked into the supply chain of the things that we're talking on, like right now, right? And we feel resolved, we feel peaceful, we feel like we're having good, civilized culture discussions, but in order to do that, somebody is probably suffering brutally for that.
It's the Ursula Le Guin story, those who walk away from home loss. Like there's always something suffering in order to like prop up your lifestyle.
Right. And so
arguably it's worse if it's hidden because it can compound at rates that you don't have to face it. You don't have to deal with it all the time. And so like if you outsource your death across the world through globalization and pollution, whatever, like it can lead to big problems.
Well, what do you think about the consciousness of it? Because when I think of that tribe and we're talking about murder, they were talking about that, where the morality, it just seems like so far from us. It seems that they operate under a completely different level of understanding of what is right and what is wrong. Not to say that there is no right and wrong, but we are just so much more aware of those things. I think the choice we have to make is so much bigger than theirs from an everyday existence perspective, from a religious perspective. I think that's one of the biggest things that we have is our free will. But when I think of, in my case, a Christian framework that I've been given, I know very well when I'm sinning and when I'm not. And when I think of those uncontacted tribes, I just think it's so much different that I find it much harder to lay a judgment on it in a similar way. Well, I don't want to compare them to animals because they're human beings, so they have the same faculty that we do. But the lion and the gazelle, stuff like this.
Well, they have, but I would say like a lot of culture, maybe they don't put it in language of sin. Some of them do. Some of them all have, have languages around sin or taboo, right? But even for us, like our Christian concepts of sin, how would we distinguish being conditioned to believe certain things we're doing are sinful because those are Christian conditions versus, something that we may do just normal, maybe something that we eat that's just a normal part of our diet that could be absolutely immoral in the eyes of, another culture, right? So how do you get down to the essence of maybe something more universal about the problem, sin and righteousness, versus like, what are these the conditions that my culture and my tradition has told me are sinful? Therefore, I think they're sinful, versus there is some sense where there's a violation against the divine order. And how do we distinguish between those? Like, how do you distinguish between a cultural conditioning versus an actual real violation against some moral universal?
I think the search for like a universal, acultural, atemporal moral order that you can articulate and apply across the globe is a fool's errand. It's like capital T objective truth. It exists, but we don't have access to it. We are stuck in the middle. We're stuck in our finitude. And so all we have to do is like I think like part of the human condition is kind of constant moral deliberation and reckoning with the fact that we are by my read is kind of like sinful, self-deceiving creatures. We're constantly trying to hide the bad that we're doing from ourselves as we do it. And so, which is why we need both to be talking to one another about kind of like the moral conundrums that we're dealing with, while also kind of listening to like cultures outside, watching how they like just have completely different or significantly different moral mass for how things are shaped is important.
Well, like for me, I've known people who were like on the streets or like homeless or like I've known people who have been in jail for some pretty bad stuff. And like when you know people within those communities, like if you become friends with people at like a homeless shelter or whatever, it's interesting because you'll meet people that have completely different priors, but you can still distinguish what a good person from that back. Like, okay, this is a group of people who were systemically abused and all this horrible stuff and like have a similar culture. I can still tell which ones are like better people. It's a very, very strange sort of thing. Like you get a sense for the person underneath the culture, and they'll sometimes be the ones that will push more against what their priors are. But they're also, I don't know, like there's a way in which people do things, what their sins are, like what the average sins of a culture are, and you get a sense of personality, and that's the best that I can do. I think.
David, do you think that that's like a like an objective sense that you have, or do you feel like that's a subjective, like you have a subjective experience of somebody's goodness, maybe in spite of their circumstances?
I mean, I think that's the only way we can judge anything, right? Like I was a referee for a period of time for like soccer, and when you're doing that and you're seeing, you have to weigh what you think the intention of someone doing something in a game is, and you very quickly it's difficult to sense, but you'll see a pattern. You'll be like, no. If I don't give this kid a yellow card, he's going to get a yellow card in he's going to get a red card in a couple of seconds, because you can tell the intention, the kind of aggression that they're playing with. And like it's these are archetypes too. Like the hooker with a heart of gold is an archetype that's kind of exactly what I'm talking about. Like someone who finds themselves in a particular trade, but you can see their heart as a good person despite what they find themselves in.
Also, speaking of hookers with a heart of gold, did you guys see Julia Roberts with the Golden Globes? She's 58 years old. It's flipping ridiculous. Good Lord.
But those the same like rules you're talking about, David, in like if you switch that to hockey, then they don't apply the same.
Well, I think it's almost harder because you're rewarding more aggression. The rewarding more aggression as you enter spaces that are more and more rewarding that bad sort of stuff. But you get a sense for it sometimes where it's like, look, this person is being violent towards you because he has to, versus the one that actually takes pleasure in it.
But I mean, like I feel like it's if it's a sin in soccer, it's not a sin for a hockey player. I feel like a lot of most sin, probably except for one sin, is related to just identity. Like you can have, like I really think almost all of it is arbitrary. You can make up any laws and they're just based around your identity and your culture. Because it's not a sin for me to drink, but it's a sin for a Nazarite to drink. Like, and if I call myself a Nazarite, then all of a sudden it's a sin for me to drink.
Oh,
because it's just like.
But you can. It's interesting because when certain people get caught.
Sorry.
Yeah, the smirk is one of the most fascinating things. Is when someone gets away and you see a smirk and you can tell like this person is just trying to win, and And so what you can see what their intentions are when they get released or whatever. Like, yeah.
Also, you have like the best skin tone ever, David.
Right.
Looking
You look
I
great.
love
love the
brown people.
sunglasses.
Yeah.
I love
the
brown people.
beard. Is it
He's kind of
snowing
brown.
there?
Yeah, it's very. I was going out to
Wow.
shovel my driveway.
You just want to do that for contrast.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, and Luke is one of the people who, when I first met him, was one of the people that immediately said, "You look like an Arab pirate."
He does look.
Wh-
You look more. I mean,
That's it.
the screen is whitewashes. Everyone looks more Caucasian. You see David in real life. Woo!
Yes. Yeah.
Woo!
Wow, what were we talking about? Subjective, objective also came to mind when Jedediah spoke about that just now. You asked him if subjective or an objective. Yeah.
This is the quote I always quote Jed with. Is just like everything's relative, but it's not arbitrary. That's part of. I think that's part of what it means to be embodied. There is no text without the context. You know, like everything is contextual. It has like I don't know because it's embodied. I don't know how it would be. This is why I say absolute truth doesn't exist, because absolute truth is truth without a context. Like, what is that?
Can relationality not be absolute? Something relational?
I mean, depends on what you mean. Yeah, I think that's what does absolute mean in that sense? Absolute being fundamental? Sure. Absolute as in being objective? No.
Yeah, okay, sure. Then I agree with you. But I think these are very tricky words, to be honest. That they're going to be hard to agree on with people that read different source material, because absolute.
Because you can't. Because that's the point. They're standing in a different place, so they're going to see it differently. So, like, of course, the words are. That's what I was talking about, the infinite regressive meaning before. If you think you're going to get to meaning through quantitative information and technique, it ain't going to happen. What do you think, Jed? I quote you all the time. Tell me what it means.
Well, I think that there's like kind of my excursions in Buddhism might color the answer here, right? But I think like when we're talking about the question of the absolute, right? So Buddhist is going to say that that's like shunyata or nirvana or nothing, no thingness, right? Out of which everything emerges, right? It's like really beautiful. Or we as like from a Christian milieu, we would say that God is the absolute, right? In some way. But what we're trying to say is that this is the absolute is beyond condition, right? It's unconditioned existence. And so the question of like everything down here in the realm of dependent arising in the Buddhist terminology, where this is because that is, there's a deep relativity embedded in all of that. But I think it's still like there's still this echo of something unitary at the core of all things that's uniting that, right? And we use language for that, right? But oftentimes, like I think that our language is just, it's shorthand that we've picked up, but we haven't digested about what that is, right? So when we're talking about a sin, like I would say that like sins against love, crimes against love are true crimes, right? In some way, like a failure to recognize that absolute value in its most compressed minimum appearance, which would be the human person, right? Is the human person still represents an absolute value, being made in the image of God, right? So I think that there are things that we could say maybe hold more of that universalized weight, and then some of them that don't, right? So questions of, you go to a tribe where, you've got a husband and 4 wives, right? In a Christian milieu, that would be a problem, right? But for that tribe, is that sinful? I mean, that's, those are the discussions that I think are interesting, where we have to realize it's like, well, I may be just simply conditioned to believe this, and Charity might call for me to be a little bit more open to my neighbor's different perspective, those kinds of things. at least grant them the integrity of their own views, those kinds of things, right? But yeah, I mean, I think that there is a like a fundamental relativity, but I do think that there is an underlying reality that kind of that's going to consistently reward certain kinds of behaviors and is going to consistently prune away certain kinds of behaviors just because they don't work, you know, like wanton reckless murder doesn't work in any society, right? Really doesn't. And societies will fall apart in cycles of violence because of that, right? So we could say like, hey, with some confidence, this is, you know, this is closer to those universal, closer to the absolute, but a lot of that doesn't fall in that category. That's kind of how I would look at it at this point. I don't know if that helps.
It makes sense. You can get closer to it, so there is the existence of it, but perhaps we, in our reality, cannot ever fully manifest that existence of that absolute thing that you're talking about.
Right. And I don't think that I don't think we have the capacity to arrive at fully enclosed absolute certainty on really any of our major propositions, even within our own faith tradition, right? Doesn't mean that I don't believe them. I just don't have. I'm not going to place like the same degree of certainty in, let's say, a doctrine that I believe, the doctrine of the Trinity. I don't place that the same certainty in that I would say in Christ's death and resurrection, right? One seems to precede the other, right? So there's certain things that I place, you know, ascending levels of certainty to, just because like the reality is I'm not in a position to stand outside God and say, yes, this is who God really is, and this is the correct way to view him. I'm viewing it from the inside of the story.
Well, one of the things that just came to mind as you were talking about that is, would you kick King David out of your church? Right? If you had someone in your church that did those things, would you consider him someone that you'd want in church leadership or to have around or to be writing worship songs? Would you sing songs written by a dude who did those things? You know what I mean? Who had multiple wives, but at the same time, like I think I see what you're saying, Jed, because I can imagine within a polygamous culture, someone who is good to his 4 wives and someone who is bad to his 4 wives.
Right. Right.
Or polygamy's fine if you're nice, Claire. Polygamy's fine
if you're equal. You have to be nice equally to all 4 of them. That's part of it.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like a logistics problem to me, but
yes, it is.
You know, back to what Sartori was saying. You can, you know, particularity, women, loving women. You know, if God gives you the capacity and the skill and the patience, you know, and the test, the T to handle 5 women, do it for the glory of God. You know,
right. But you got to show that you're good with one, and then he would it's like the
he who has been given much.
Right.
Even more wives will be given.
I am sure that the Mormons do interpret it in that way. I'm sure of it.
Ooh, this is a good question. If we were cool with polygamy, let's just thought experiment this. Is it okay for the wives to form a trade union?
I mean, if we're letting them work. Sorry, that's a joke. My wife works. Sorry,
Listen, but that is the little bit of like, I think the abstracted, objective, cultural criticism of like the right side of history is that's just it. You know, anyone who's somewhat of a cultural elitist, progressivist in that sense, it's just like, you know, this is like women. This is where I struggle with like Mark. You're not here, Mark D. Parker, but to put him on blast or something as he's talking about Douglas Wilson or something, and we're just like, well, now women have the right to vote and they work outside the home, and that is better. And I'm just like, it's different. It's different. I wouldn't.
It's also very difficult if you go down the Doug Wilson rabbit hole. His daughters are remarkably well read, well educated. Like the people that go to that church are not women. Like they also uphold homeschooling and things like that. So many of the women are more educated than our teachers are. So is it better if a woman is taking care of children that aren't hers because she's employed as a teacher, or is it better if she's taking care of her own children and is even more educated?
Yeah. Uh-oh, Nathan, you're gonna get mad. No, I have very separate lives. Like when I say all this, if my wife saw this, I would be divorced. I mean, my wife doesn't know anything about this side of me. I keep that very well hidden. She thinks I'm like a radical feminist.
Well, everyone who was at Midwestuary met my wife as well, and she doesn't put up with my idiocy.
No.
She's feisty.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a personality. My wife is, she can stand up to my, personality. I like strong, feisty, opinionated women. Like if I had a pretty, like demure, just like submissive, just like yes type wife, I would crush her. It would be unbelievable. It would not be good.
Hey, could you grab Matt's comment a little bit up thread? He
Yeah,
made
yeah.
really fascinating one, and I wanted to address that.
Are you talking about Skank or Matt Krotz?
Matt Krotz, yeah. Matt left a comment about conditioning that I thought was like 11:04 a.m.
Okay, let me. Oh, geez. Okay,
Right.
I'll find it.
And I think Matt brings. I think it's a fair criticism, right? So Matt, I don't think that you're necessarily wrong. But I do think that you have to be aware that problem of conditioning, right? You're consistently, like within a faith community, we're kind of accepting the perspectives of others as true and in good faith and those kinds of things. Like, I don't think that we escape that problem. I mean, I think you can, like, I would argue that you can escape that problem by meditation, contemplation, questioning, a rigorous set of questioning of what is conditioned and what do I actually believe, right? What's conditioning and what appears to be actually real to me. But there's no guarantees that you're right, even if you assert that, this is true for me, right? And so I think that that problem is an intractable one of being a limited human being, right? That does not have, like, we don't have the ability to make these broad declarative statements and then back them up with all the receipts that enables us to validate our points of view, right? And
it also assumes there are receipts that are objective.
Right. I think that sometimes, I think in some sense there can be a limited set of receipts about a certain set of problems, right? But it's just that I think that circle of what we can actually know is actually vanishingly small. Like, where to really know something, to know it inside and out, to know that this is the case versus, that not being the case. Those are difficult. That's actually more difficult than we realize. And I think from sometimes, like, what faith will do is it will tempt us into thinking we know things that we don't actually know. Right. And I say that as a person of faith. I'm not inclined to abandon my Christian faith.
Is there any certainty in your faith?
So I reduce, like, what I do not question, like in terms of what I've come to accept is just, like, kind of prima facie true, is three things: Christ has died, Christ is risen, Christ is coming again. Those three things I feel like are axiomatic realities of the Christian faith. One of them hasn't happened yet. One of them is very difficult to prove and to falsify. The only one that we can really know, kind of, with scholarly consensus, quote unquote, right, is that Jesus of Nazareth was crucified, right? So I think a lot of, like, my own belief, let's reduce it down to what we can know, is that this Jesus was crucified. Why was he crucified? What were the circumstances of his life that led him to that point? And I find that figure is, to me, is divine, right?
Yeah.
I see Christ's divinity expressed in how he dies, right? And why he dies. And but beyond those three things, everything else is peripheral to that central core.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
I
then
think that's a
everything else is
beautiful.
like, yeah, when I'm saying the creed in in the liturgy, I actually believe those things, right? So I'm not saying I don't believe them, but in terms of how much certainty do I place in that, that's a significantly lower drop than those three fundamental axiomatic I see is true about Christianity.
And I guess we need to trust, or believe, trust, faith. Those things aren't certainty, but that makes them more powerful in my experience, at least.
Right.
That's kind of the okay. And also, I think I'm gonna wrap it up in about like 10 minutes. Sorry, guys, I didn't give a warning.
And what's the reason for that, Luke? Did you lose your beanie?
No, it's over on the counter.
All
I
right.
took it off when I came inside. But I think I'm gonna go watch a movie. I think I'm gonna take a shower.
Luke's wife is out of town, and he's like, "Let me do a naughty weekend and watch a movie at 10 a.m." That's your
Well, it's
Fair enough.
1:11 now,
Wow.
So, and Ron's here, and so we would definitely want to hear what Mr. Ron has to say. But yeah, I think certainty is a cope. It's a delusion. Like no one has certainty. It's just every position is a faith position. And whatever doesn't come from faith is sin. That's what Hebrews tells me in my divine revelation. So, Lucas was raised by a sharp father. So let's go around the world. Let's go around the wheel here. See what's popping. Ron, what up, buddy?
So I got a question for Jedediah and you, Luke. Jedediah, you can answer when you have time. What kind of Buddhist were you? What flavor? For how long? The reason I ask is I was a Buddhist for a long time, and it's influenced me a lot in my Christian walk. And then also for Luke, for me, like everything I've had in Christianity is very experiential, and so when I say I met Jesus, I can't prove it, but it's an absolute for me, and that's kind of what I'm wrestling with in this conversation. I enjoy the conversation, but I think what I'm thinking is that there are some truths, but they also seem to be very subjective. What do you think?
I think when you say that's an absolute for me, I'm fully on board. That's personal knowing. And that's the thing with personal knowing is it's always contextual. It's embedded. It's what you see and hear depends a lot on where you're standing and the kind of person you are. You can't objectify yourself out that. That's what I call the hard problem of all perception.
Because I'm yelling at my phone. I'm like, no, there are absolute truths. I know it. I can't show you and I can't prove it, but I know they're absolute.
I think you can say there are things that are true and there are things that are real. I think when people say absolute truth, they're defaulting to a faith position that comes out of modernist rationality.
Yeah. So I'm not a Buddhist, Ron. I've never been a Buddhist, but I sojourn among them. So Luke's term "California Buddhist" is probably a great way of putting it. One of the Buddhist temples I go to down here is a place called Dharma Bums. It's run by a dude named Jeff. And he does have lineage. Like he trained in Mahayana circles out in, I think, in Taiwan, if I'm correct. Most of my forms that I've experimented with are really arise out of Thomas Merton's work, Zen and the Birds of Appetite. So most of the meditation forms are kind of a combination of bringing in a lot of the wisdom of Meister Eckhart with some of the Zen meditation traditions. So I do practice something very similar to Zen meditation. I try to on a daily basis, but I'm not a Buddhist. I want to make that relatively clear. I'm a little bit more open to the practices from other traditions as ones that are kind of mutually enhancing my own Christian experience. And I find that Zen meditation is one of those forms that I am able to connect to that in. And Paul made a really interesting comment on what do I mean by divine when Jesus is divine. Nothing less than what Jordan Daniel Wood would mean by that, right?
Oh, don't mention Jordan Daniel Wood. Everyone's gonna get mad.
Right. So Jordan or what Hart would say, like, I have a maximal sense of Christ's own divinity, but I also don't. This is where kind of following the logic. I see Jesus as the forerunner of something that we all actually are, right? That he intends to elevate us to that level. So that same kind of hypostatic identity, but that's derived again. That's through the abstractions of logic and pondering what it means for this man to die in this way, right? But so I'm not trying to reduce Jesus's divinity. I'm a maximalist in that sense, and probably a monist ultimately in my metaphysics. But I just don't place the same level of, let's say, dogmatic certitude in those statements that I would in something that I can say with relative confidence that yes, I do believe that Jesus died, and I do believe he rose again. I think that's a reasonable, rational belief, and I think Christianity is unintelligible outside of the belief that this man rose from the dead. So I don't think it ever happens without that belief that the early community had. But it's just, what can I know? What can I verify? Actually, relatively little. So it's like, I think that the locus of where the faith centers is actually in a person, not in the set of ideas that I build around the person. Like I have faith in Jesus.
Are you saying the person of Jesus?
The person of Mary's boy. That's who I have
Yeah.
faith
Okay. Cool. Okay. Gotcha. If I can dip in just for one quick second, because I'm driving and it was a little noisy, so I got you closer to my ear. Is it? I was a Soto Zen Buddhist, and the guys that I trained with, they ran Intanji, Yaheji, and Shasta Mountain.
Okay.
On Shasta.
Okay.
And Logan Chino Adagawa was, and Katagiri Roshi.
Okay, these names are familiar to me.
Yeah, so these are the guys I studied with. So when you sit, have you ever sat with Christ in the meditation?
Yes, I feel like that's like the so with Eckhart, right? Where is Christ born but within us? Where's the Son being eternally generated? It's at the very ground of our existence, right? And so to find that silent ground is the place where we find the incarnation happening in real time. Right. So I do feel like in those meditations, like what I am encountering is not just a bare, the bare shunyata, but I feel like it's just I'm in a dimension or zone where the silence discloses Christ to me, if that makes sense.
Nice. All right, guys. Final words. We're gonna close it up. Ron, do you have more words to say? I keep muting you because you're all right. No, he doesn't. Let's go. Let's start with Michael. What do you want to say there, buddy?
Okay, well, this is what I've been studying, which is very relevant to most of the discussion that happened above previously. But in Luke 15, Jesus gives the three parables: the lost sheep, the lost coin, and the prodigal son, the lost son. And he's going down this progression from like 1 of 100, 1 to 10, 1 of 2, essentially. And the interesting thing is it says that the 99 sheep the shepherd leaves in the wilderness. And there's something interesting about that their social cohesion that they get from being a group of that size, that Dunbar number-esque group of 100, protects them in the wilderness, but it also blinds them to the wilderness. They don't see the wilderness in the same way as the missing sheep who's stuck in a ditch. And then, 10, well, what's that? That's like a group of friends, a close group of friends. And in fact, if you look at the end of the prodigal son, the older brother saying, Dad, you never even gave me a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. Well, a young goat, that's going to feed a group of 10 to 20 people or whatever, something like that. He has something that the lost son doesn't have. And I think so, in a sense, like, those are good things to have. We all want them, But we have to realize that if we are in a group, a tight-knit group of 10, or we're in a body, a church or something larger than that, it's blinding us to something that is causing that one person or the very few people to not be able to feel welcome. And so it's good to have it, but it means you can't diagnose the problem. So we have to be aware and we have to listen.
Yeah, I think that's super well said. That's the canonizing the heretic. That's what that is. All right, Jedediah.
I got nothing. I have no wisdom here for you.
Oh,
unless there's a question.
No,
I'm more of a reactive. Think of
yeah,
me as
we're.
a human large
I'm kind of that.
model. You gotta
I get
prime
it.
me with the prompt.
I get it. I'm kind of that way too. This is a little bit of the liturgy of live streams that I've established, other people established. It's the closing round where you just go around and give final thoughts. If you don't have any, that is fine. But I'm kind of that way too. I'm just like, I imagine it like tennis. I'm just like, I have like, you got to hit me a ball sometimes. Like I can go off on my own, but I'm just like, I'm just sitting here.
Right.
And
Right.
if you want me to respond, I can respond. I can't give you anything except I can start talking about God. That's
Well,
like
I
my
can't
only
say this
ball.
with like with unconditioned certainty. It was good to see you this morning, Luke.
You too, buddy. You too. Thank you for coming despite your Molly hangover. I appreciate it. Lucas.
Yeah, so I'm used to the estuary protocol. I never really do these live streams. They're really nice, I find. I never listen to them. I never have time for them, but my wife's somewhere, just like yours. So here we are. So I usually thank the fellow participants. Jedediah, I didn't know you before this, but I don't pick favorites, but I really enjoyed everything you said today, and especially the way you said it.
I appreciate that.
And I'm seeing more the value of the host next to me, because when he's not there, you notice there's a bit of a vacuum, like what's going on? And then Jason clearly wants to take power for himself. Always happens the same way.
The kind of guy
but
he is.
I have many things I take along. Also, Michael's thing of the particular. I want to get a bit more into the Bible and the particular little nitty gritty things of the stories. And yeah, this uncontacted tribe. I think it brought some things out of all of us. I still like relationality as a metaphysics type of thing.
Yeah,
we can talk about that more next time. But thank you.
You guys should talk.
Yeah. Well,
it would probably be a cool conversation.
Sure. Luke, can you connect me? And
Yes, I will. I will email you both.
Just I'm a working man nowadays. I don't have time for this stuff.
Yeah,
guys.
it
Like
happens.
on the weekends, it's terrible, but I'm here now. So
The good news is like our wives are away or downstairs.
Yes, that's all I can do.
All right. Thank everyone for coming. Look at this. This is like, I've had a 3-hour podcast live stream in a long time. Listen, Jason, like Lucas said earlier, yeah, if our private signal chat was released, Jason could never show his face anywhere again. Like, you wouldn't believe. Nathan up here, Digital Gnosis, is talking about things that are bad. Jason is what's wrong with the world. That guy is the most. Think of any terrible term. He's all of them.
He eats 60 eggs a day. Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right. See you guys. Thanks everyone for coming. That's all. Meow meow. Bye bye.
Don't say that.